Hey guys, I'm Mike,
And I'm Tim.
and I'm on the wrong side, but we're still coming live from our basements because we cover games from top to bottom. Tim, how does it feel to be on the left side tonight?
I feel like left shark. I could just do whatever I want tonight. It doesn't matter. I don't have to be in sync. I can just bang, whatever I want.
Hey, we don't, I'm sorry, Facebook still doesn't tell us your name unless you tell Facebook they can tell you our name. I bet it's
And
Katsia. That's my
and
guess.
Nix is getting into the game now too. What's up,
Yes,
Nix?
she
What's up,
is.
Jazz? If that is Katia,
Hey, everybody.
Katia.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you guys. Oh, it's Brandon Emerson. Right on. Well, we're sorry we called you Katia.
Yes.
But
welcome.
That's
What's
a
up,
compliment. That's a compliment.
Bob? Right.
And Bobby's here, as always. Mike, I don't know about you, but I've had a week and it's only Wednesday.
It's been a busy week for me. Yes. In fact, just off the top of my head, I work for an auto auction. Many may know that already. Sales can be kind of unpredictable in this business. There are trends year to year. One of those trends in the car business is selling cars around tax time. That really didn't happen this year. And so April and March, which are usually super busy, weren't. But I just had my best sale day ever today.
Well, congratulations.
After the two slowest tax months ever. None of it makes any sense. What's up?
Well, I just started my new position this week officially.
Nice.
Even though I've been kind of doing that job for like 4 months.
Right.
But now I'm in it. I'm now like CC'd on like about 100 other emails. There's a million trainings that have come through that I've had to complete. And on top of that, we had our safety guy come in and kind of do like a soft audit. And it's like on like the second and third day of my job. It has been hectic. And I've earned my whiskey tonight. Shenanigans. What's up?
That's an amazing name. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you in the live chat before, and I usually am good about remembering that. If I'm wrong, you can make fun of me.
And then Jason, as always.
So we got a few other things we'll talk about before we actually get into the list. However, Tim, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what tonight's list is? Let's get that out of the way.
I'm left shark right now. So as far as Mike knows, I could say anything, even though we technically have mapped out our whole month. I can say anything I want.
We have mapped out the whole month.
I'm going to be nice. And I'm going to say that tonight is our top 5 fantasy themed games. I almost said historical. No, it's like, wait, it's not historical. Fantasy themed games.
Oh, I thought you were just messing with me. I gave you a benefit of the doubt. I actually didn't think you forgot because we just talked about it.
Here's the thing, Mike, is I remembered it. And then I'm like, I'm going to mess with Mike. And then it's like, and then when I went to actually say it, my brain fried.
Your brain froze mid-joke. Great question, Jason. That was another thing that we discussed in the pre-production meeting, which was 6 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So, Tim, why don't you go ahead and just real quick, what was your criteria for this list? What made a game fantasy for you?
Okay, so fantasy is little to no technology, right? That's one of my criteria. 2, to me, I made a different, I have a different section for mythology-based games. So no, Ankh is not going to be on my list, even though you could see it as fantasy. I believe in evolution, so Darwin's Journey is not on my fantasy list of games. We said we weren't going to make that joke, but I made that joke anyways.
We did.
But
I wanted to do the joke. You stole it.
I did. I stepped on it. But no, so basically I just, high fantasy, low fantasy, some of these may have magic and wizards. Some of them don't have very much of that at all. But yeah, so the theme is fantastical. It's fantasy. But again, no technology, right? No laser guns, no spaceships, nothing like that.
I went with fantasy in the most traditional forms of the word that I know, and that is games that include dwarves and goblins and stuff like that, made up creatures, elves and paladins, and the most basic, like the game had to have those things for me to consider it. That's where I went. I didn't go really much outside of those boundaries, so it constricted me a lot. And I know I'm not saying my interpretation of fantasy is correct. This is just the interpretation of fantasy I chose to go in for this list, one. And two, fantasy to me has always been Elder Scrolls and Diablo. That's what got, Baldur's Gate. That's what got me into fantasy themes. So that's where my brain goes immediately, is goblins and orcs and crap like that.
For sure. I think that's totally valid. And again, right, like that's the beauty. You and I did not discuss prior our approaches to the list, so that's what makes it fun.
So there you go. That's our list. We'll of course jump into that even further in a little bit here, but first, if you've looked at your calendar, I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. Tim, you still drinking on Jeffers Creek?
I'm getting ready to pour it right now.
I'm about to get you an early birthday present. So at least I don't have to see that bottle for like another 3 months, because you'll be drinking whatever I get you.
You know what I'm going to do now, Mike? I'm going to fill this bottle with something, and I'm going to leave it at your house one day when I come over for games. I'm just going to hide it somewhere, and you're just going to have like this weird random bottle that's doesn't even actually have bourbon in it, because I can't waste bourbon. I got to drink it.
Of course. It's alcohol abuse if you don't. Although,
exactly.
I got a bottle of Bad Sweater upstairs. That's the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. I have no desire to finish that. I'm actively trying to get rid of it.
Willie, yes, I do have some IP related fantasy.
Interesting. Okay, I am drinking Larceny, which is a true Kentucky bourbon. This one is more wheated, so slightly different flavor from your standard bourbon. It's pretty good. I had some last weekend.
I hope they stole the recipe for that.
Well done.
Thank you. It's a missed opportunity if they didn't.
Oh, damn it. I love puns.
I've been needing this. I've been needing tonight, like since Monday at 8:05 in the morning. So I'm like ready to go.
Yeah, my week kind of started like I showed up. It's like, bam, here's how this week's gonna go, and that's how it's gone.
Hey, but
agreed.
You know, I've been selling welders like crazy. I got machines going out the door, so you know, making money, right? That's all we can do.
I helped facilitate 55 vehicle sales today, so there you go.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up, son. That's awesome.
Barely above my previous high of 52. I'm sorry.
Congratulations, though, Mike. That's huge. That's great, man. Be proud of that.
Okay, so Tim, we got some news we want to jump into first.
Yeah, let's do the happy, fun news first, right?
Yes, because if you've checked your calendar, I mean, our friend of the show, Katsia, has her calendar campaign. It started yesterday and funded within 5 hours.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's the other thing. Larceny is great for the price, Jason. Absolutely. Very awesome for the price.
Yeah, Mike and I tried to get cocky because I was backer number 2, and I tried to say it was going to fund in 2 hours after Mike said he was backer number 4 and it was going to fund in 4 hours. So we were trying to like outdo ourselves. But yeah, we're super excited for Katya. She totally deserves it. The calendar is amazing. I suggest everybody go and look at it. If you're in our Discord, you've seen it. The link there. She was on our show a few weeks ago. She is an absolutely lovely person.
She's great. And she'll be back this month. We wanted to get her while her calendar is live during the campaign. And actually, we almost didn't get her before her campaign because we wanted her during her campaign so bad that we were like, well, wait a minute, why are we waiting? We can do both.
Yeah. And also though, like because we respect her and her time, and I feel like she's a relatively prominent, figure in the industry. Like Mike and I have got to have our stuff together if we're going to have somebody like Katya on. We can't embarrass ourselves.
Right.
Any more than usual, anyway.
Oh, right. No more than 4 buffers minimum.
Yeah. Get them in early and hot.
But yeah, already funded. She was over 11,000 last I checked, with a funding goal like 7,800. So awesome for her. If you haven't backed it, I highly suggest it. You can't walk into a store and buy a calendar of this quality. We're talking about you.
Her ears are buzzing.
That's right. This conversation was happening before you came in. We already told everybody to back it if they haven't already. And you're way over your funding. So
I am like really eyeballing those coasters hard too. Those coasters look really cool. I'm excited. There's options. There's options there, guys. It's not just a calendar. There's more things.
That's right. It's true.
And so yes, go look at it. I will not I'm really disappointed Katya didn't use my quote though on the page.
Tim, would you like to tell everybody what your official quote was?
No. It's not PG. It's not PG.
Yeah, I think Nick's even called us out earlier and said we had to stay G-rated. So
yeah.
You're not allowed. I don't even think you can muffle it and get that across.
Right. But let's just say it was a lot of exclamation points, at least one expletive, and by the calendar.
I love it. That's right. You know what day it is. You know what time it is? Game time. All right. Tim, what else you got?
Okay, so also Iconic Studios has on their Kickstarter right now They Live, Save the City, or Enslave the City, depending on what team you're on. That's going well, going strong. It's way funded. Still got some time left. Forges of Ravenshire, of course, still has some time left. We all are huge fans of that game. If actually Bob will be demoing that at Origins, if anybody's going to be at Origins, Bob's going to be demoing that for them, helping out with that. And then, Cities of Venus. We played Cities of Venus. We've got a video up for it. We had some mixed feelings out of the group, but I think Bob and I came away a little more positive. And when you watch our video, we're talking about how the game needs more and some stuff. Well, come to find out that we got like basically a limited version because that's what he made for the prototype, but there's more cards and more things that are going to do stuff. So, again, we were reviewing a preview, version of it, but it's got, it's sort of it's literally a tableau builder. Your board is in front of you and it's got slots where when you buy cards and you insert them and they upgrade the abilities on your board, and give you, better improved actions, extra things, stuff like that. But it plays very fast. And it was very easy to learn, which are all nice things. So it doesn't overstay its welcome or anything like that. Dan and Spencer kind of found it too punishing, which is funny because I found Darwin's Journey too punishing. But listen, if I'm going to get punished for 2.5 hours, no, thank you. It's one thing if I'm getting my butt kicked for 45 minutes and I can be done and play a different game. But I'm like 2.5, 3 hours into a game and it's like, in the second round, I already know there's no coming back from where I've started. It's like, it sucks. It's a beautifully made game. We got a video. I'm not going to go through all of it. I explained all of my points very well there. I understand why people will love this game. It is a good game. I just don't appreciate it.
I did not get to sit in on the review. And so I played it with Bob before you guys played it and reviewed it. So I was in on the learning game. I I backed it. So I've been pumped for this game, and I think it's fantastic.
You have to like it.
I don't have to like anything. I've got $100 game back here that I just put on my sale list, and I've been crapping on it ever since I backed it. So, and lots of people love it. It's Dinosaur Island, by the way. If you want to buy my copy of Dinosaur Island, Kickstarter edition deluxe with totally liquid. I was just never a fan of that one. It's time to move on. And I put, ooh, wow, yeah. Instead of Right Said Fred, it's Right Side Mike.
Yeah, you're still not too sexy though. Sweaty. You're too sweaty for the show.
This guy's just stealing my thunder all night
for
long.
The shirt. Too sweaty for this.
Some rapper redid that song. Like, that song was never good. Like, it might have been popular, but it was never good.
Listen,
like, nobody was like, that song's awesome. I love that song. No, they just know the song.
I will say,
why redo it?
I love that song, but I absolutely know it's garbage. I mean, I love that song though. It's garbage.
No, you can't love it.
I do. Because I love things that are bad for me sometimes.
So you also like Cotton Eye Joe? That's the other worst song.
Kind of like whiskey in moderation. Hey, if it comes on at a wedding, I'm going to get out there and make a fool of myself.
Oh, no, that's when I sit down.
Oh, no. That's when I crank it up.
No, oof, no. There's just no dance that I feel comfortable doing to that song. You're talking, that's didn't learn earlier, if you're not in our Discord, Class of 98, best dancer right here.
Oh boy. Must have been a weak class. Did you?
Well, it was because of the lip sync thing I did. I did that, and then I like danced to it. It was, remember Wyclef Jean's version of "Staying Alive"?
Yeah, I can sing almost that whole song word for word. Like, I
lip synced it and danced to it in front of our whole high school.
Yeah.
So
good for you, dude. Little Napoleon Dynamite action there. You put on some headphones and your Walkman, cut your belt.
Yes. We are totally on some tangents today. Okay.
We got
what else you got, Tim?
We got to address last thing in news. This is the bummer part of it, right? And that's the Mythic Games thing. And it's really tough because I'm watching people have very valid upset reactions, right? Like, and to the point where it's like, I don't even want to mess with Kickstarter anymore because they've been burned so badly by this. And here we are tonight, we're talking about friends or people that we have met in the industry that have stuff on Kickstarter, and it's like, it can go bad. It can go bad sometimes, and unfortunately Mythic, Peterson Games has had these problems recently too, where they were basically just chasing their tail, right? Because they're trying to get a new project funded to pay for finish the production of their old project, but they're just getting deeper in the hole, and it sounds like something like that is what has happened with Mythic. And nope, we still cannot see your name. I'm going to assume that's still Brandon Emerson. But anyways, so it's really disappointing. Just when it happens to anybody. I wasn't in on that Rainbow Six Kickstarter, but many people were, and so much money. And I saw an interesting theory. I don't remember if it was on our Discord or if it was on one of the Facebook groups, but somebody was saying that they're hoping if like half the people drop their pledge, they will be able to afford to like ship. Like if half the people drop their pledge and half the people pay, then they might have the capital then to pay to get everything, over the United States or, to backers, not just US, but just really tough. I don't know that Mythic will ever recover from this. I mean, reputation wise, they're going to have to, I just don't know how they could use Kickstarter and get anybody to trust them again.
And they've already got people requesting refunds from previous campaigns that still haven't fulfilled.
Well, and they're they did Darkest Dungeon, right?
Yes.
And Darkest Dungeon is shipping in 2 waves. So the first wave has shipped, but everybody's still waiting.
There it is. We see it now. Thank you, sir. Sorry for the extra hassle.
So now everybody is now waiting, right, for
Yeah.
their second wave of stuff. And
Evening, Wayne.
oh,
yeah, 200.
gosh.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
Wayne. All you've missed is Mike and I just being
Extra.
idiots for 20 minutes, and then a little bit of news sprinkled in.
Yeah, 200 extra.
Good Lord.
Now the thing is, we didn't back the game, but let's say you did, Tim. Let's say you're all in on that game right now. What do you do? Are you paying that extra $250 for a chance at getting it? You're already what was the all in on that one? It was like $300-400.
Jeff
$400, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't back that one.
That's really tough because at some point in time, you've got to cut your losses, right? I think what I would do, 279 was the all in, is what Jeff said.
There it is. Okay.
So I just don't know. Dawn of Madness. I don't know.
Yeah, I know people that are still like, not personally, but I'm seeing comments in threads of people that are still waiting on refunds for like months for previous games. Now, maybe it depends on the game.
Wayne, what's your show? Do we know what Wayne's show is? Wayne, do you have a show? Are you just like subtly dropping hints like, oh, hey, I got the show if you guys are interested? Am I missing? Or maybe I'm a bad friend and I like, oh, he's totally got a show and I'm just not plugging it. Oh, Beans and Dice. Okay, I did not know that. Beans and Dice podcast. Is that strictly audio or do you do video too? I want to know. I listen to podcasts all day at work. Can I find it on iTunes? I will listen. And be proud, dude. Wear it. You got a show. You got a show, man. You're here. You're hanging out with us. You're here all the time. Please promote it. Share it.
I think he has more games for trade than I've ever owned.
Who, Wayne does? Sweet.
Yeah, so I think he deserves to have a show if he wants one.
All right, Wayne. Beans and Dice. I'm gonna sub. I'm gonna be watching you. So and then Brandon, yeah, get yourself an old fashioned.
That's what we do. Tim and I are common. We like it on the rocks typically, but I've recently found that I like old fashions.
Yeah, and I don't, Catchy. I don't even know. Like, I really don't know. I've been really fortunate. Now I've had to wait several years for a Kickstarter. I'm going on 4 for my last Cthulhu Wars one. Because that was 2019, I believe, maybe 2019, somewhere in there. So I'm going on 4 years. I will wait. But it's really tough when they're going to ask for more money. That is really tough. And I don't know.
And that's a lot to ask.
That is so much money too. It'd be one thing if it's like I'm $100 in on this game and I got to spend 20 more. Like, fine, I'll spend 20 more dollars. But if you can't, now you got to pose it like this. If you cannot get your money back, that $250 is lost. Or you can throw $200 more and maybe get your game. But you're not getting anything extra. You're not getting it.
The thing is, they never even said what the target is. Like, hey, if we get this much, we'll definitely print the game. It was just like, hey, we need this much. Well, what if half the people ask for a refund? Are they still going to make the game? You know? And the thing is, they had, I looked it up, they had like 10,000, over 10,000 backers. They're asking for an extra $200. Somebody help me out with the math. Isn't that 2 million? They're asking for an extra $2 million. Yeah, you can buy, exactly, Andrew. Thank you. That's my crutch all the time with going all in for any game. Is one, I'm not 100% sure if I'm like, am I sold on this game? You know, I don't know that I've really gone all in for anything. I'm a weird board gamer though. Like, I'm not on Kickstarter all the time. It's a dangerous place. I'm very selective on what I've backed. I've backed way more this year than I ever have previously, but I think
Katya's calendar is my first Kickstarter this year.
Wow, nice. Look at that. That is a prestigious honor.
Now, Guardians of Atlantis might be my second crowdfunding venture.
See, okay, talk about $250, and like that's just to get all the hero packs. If you back it, then like let's figure out a way to, you know, let's split our hero packs.
Really go all in, yeah. Endless Winter and Distilled.
There's a lot of reasons I do it since you mentioned it. Like one, I'm just selective, and I'm like, okay, especially if the expansions are available retail, and I know that I'm a person that wants to experience the base game. Like, let me see what you designed in the core box and how much I think it needs those expansions. Let me see what I'm working with in your base game first. Then usually 4, 5, 6 plays is when I'm like, okay, let's start thinking about an expansion. Unless I just flat out didn't like the game that much, then after play 1, let me look into some expansions and modules. An example of that, Endless Winter. That game fell a little flat for me. Everybody says there's a few modules you can add in that makes it a much better experience. If I play it again, I would jump right into those. On the other hand, a game mentioned earlier, Ankh, me, Tim, and Dan will tell you that game is very close to territorial control perfection. And as a result, I've never thought about adding an expansion to it, except maybe extra gods. And then speaking of forges, Sam Stockton says, hey, try the Pantheon expansion. I'm like, try what?
The Pharaoh expansion.
Did I buy the wrong one? No, it's not the ones with that extra gods. It adds pharaohs and a whole extra board. And yeah, that's what everybody says. I know lots of people that, like, if you like Ankh, you've probably only played the base game because there's tons of good content in that box. So it's like, why would you add the expansion? And Sam's saying it's one of the best expansions he's ever played. Anyway, so my whole point is,
go on. Finish your point.
I did not go all in on Ankh. I knew I could get the expansions later. So I backed it. You know, I got my Tomb of Wonders box. I've been super happy with what I got. Now I want to check out expansions because I played it 5 times and they're available. So, you know, why risk paying that extra money, paying usually primo dollar, especially if I'm a company like CMON where I know that stuff's available. So I'm just not an all-in backer.
The CMON stuff does pop up later, but man, Ankh was one I went all in on. The only thing I didn't get was the playmat, and because I never get the playmat, and then I'm always like, oh, maybe I should have got the playmat, and then I'm like, whatever, I'm fine. But Ankh was no regrets, man. I've played that game. That game has paid for itself already. It will continue to pay for itself. Did not disappoint.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Sometimes the exception and not the rule. Metal, coins, acrylic tiles.
Yeah. I'm just like, what if I don't know if I'm totally going to like the game yet? Is it worth paying extra for acrylic tiles? For me, not always. Sometimes the price of acrylic tiles can get me a totally different game that's in stock somewhere else. For the price of like miniatures and gold coins, I'm like, I could go buy 2 other games and have them delivered tomorrow. And that's the rationalization that goes in my brain. I'm not a fear of missing out backer. I'm very selective, and I've got other metal coins I can supplement. Why do I need those versions of coins? I'm just one of those people.
I mean, honestly now, I've become way more selective with what I back, but usually when I back, I just get everything because it's like, well, I'm here. I'm just going to get everything. And so for that reason, I don't back lots of like little things sprinkled in, you know.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the thing that worked out extremely well, Bob, because Wonderland's War is completely out of print. So my retail edition with coin capsules and the expansion that I'll have added to that from the new campaign, I'm gonna make like half my money back on that. Anyway, Yes, I do. I use Scythe coins for every game, so it doesn't matter. So does Bob.
I backed a Kickstarter years ago that was just for metal coins, and so I got like some generic fantasy, like Greek mythology, and then some fantasy metal coins that I've got a bag of. I use. Scythe coins are great. Zaya coins are my favorite. Zaya Legend
they're
of the Earth
amazing.
System.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite metal coins that I've ever gotten in a game.
Dang, that I almost want to do a list of best metal coins, but as you know, I don't have a ton of games that have metal coins.
Bob and I got you covered.
I just admitted to that.
Bob and I got you covered.
Still need a topic for Sunday.
I will get the metal coins out for when I play For Sale. Like, I don't care. Like, let's do For Sale. I got my metal coins. Right. Let's go.
All right, Tim. We're 30 minutes in. We should probably.
There's a list.
Ooh, I wonder how much Wayne would trade me for my retail copy of one of those one. I don't know how big his trade list is. It's all of his games, I think.
You need to get off of Wayne's trade list while we're trying to work here, Mike.
Well, I've been in there. I messaged him on Board Game Geek before. So just saying.
Oh, right on.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a store. Okay.
Oh, Seafall coins. That's a good call, right? Because nobody's using anything from Seafall. So you might as well.
The kindling, the rest of the pieces. Does that mean that Seafall is not in Jason's storage? Or no, he probably has the game in storage, but he kept the coins
out.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, Tim. Are you ready for your favorite fantasy games?
Oh my gosh, I got like 11 or 12 written down. I'm gonna start narrowing these down.
I restricted myself a bit, and there are some I didn't really think of until later, which kind of tends to happen.
Oh yeah.
But Jason doesn't even have Seafall. He stole the coins out of someone else's copy. Wow, you gotta watch this guy.
Well, he was drinking larceny, so he knows.
I do. I saw that coming from a mile away.
You're welcome.
All right. I guess you're still gonna go first, though, even though you're on that side.
The person on this side probably should go first. So I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, I guess if you want to go left or right, but me trying to transition between you stopping talking, that just may not work out. I'll cut you off.
And I don't really ever stop talking either.
So. Right. That's the other problem. All right, cool. Then. Shut up and do your number 5.
All right. This was the first game that I played by a designer that I didn't know was gonna in the future make one of my favorite games. Jay Cormier. I'm brutalizing his last name. He's a Canadian fellow. Katia, maybe you can help me with that.
Why it makes me think it's Cormier, but I can't.
That's what, because like Dave Coulier, things like that.
Yes.
He's not like can't make it easy and just be one of the McKenzie brothers. That would be the easiest way to go. There I go, show my age. But my number 5, this game is one of my favorite games. It has been for a while. And then, Cormier. Is that what I said? Cormier? Yay. Thank you. Katia, do you know him? I just want to know, if you know him. But yes, it is Belfort. Belfort is fantasy. You're like all these, to fit directly into Mike's criteria where you've got gnomes and elves and whatevers, and dwarves and stuff. You're building this city, and this game is so cheeky and filled with jokes and it feels very Python to me, Monty Python. I just enjoy it quite a bit. I think it's a great game. Anyways, I backed the Kickstarter for the expansion, and I've got the key to the city kind of thing, stuff like that. I still haven't played it, and I haven't played this game in years, but I absolutely love this game. My sister got it for me for my birthday years ago. And I just think it's a great game. She's like, I think you'll like this game. And Julia was 100% correct. It's a great game. So yeah, Tasty Minstrel Games no longer with us, but Jay is continuing to make fantastic games. Mind Management was a game he had come out like 2 years ago.
Not fantasy.
It's
Sorry, Tim. You have to
not
wait.
fantasy. One of my favorite.
You can cover that during modern
games,
themes.
It's not. It's 70s. I wouldn't count it as modern. But anyways, Belfort, super fun, really good. It's just a solid game that doesn't overstay its welcome and plays really well. So that is my number 5, Belfort.
That is one I've always wanted to play and just never have been able to.
Oh man, if only we had a way to do something about that, Mike.
Yeah, I know. That'd be weird if like we were in like the same place and like you owned this game and like we enjoyed playing games and then played that game together at the same table even.
That'd be weird. That'd be weird.
I know. Yeah.
Are you okay? She just met him a few weeks ago.
No, it's just funny because you're like, oh, I'm sure you've met him. You just assume like everybody from Canada has met at some point.
Oh, it's the Great White North, eh? You know, you just put on your toque and you go out and you get some jellies and you have a beer. You know, and you watch some hockey.
As the kids say, cringe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. See. All right. I guess it's confirmed. All Canadians know each other. All right.
Yeah. Wayne said it, so it counts.
All right.
And now Katya knows Jay, so they do know everybody.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. We've gone full circle.
They were the last 2 Canadians to have never met, and now
it's the 7 levels of Jay Cormier.
Yeah, and they all know Eric Lang, right? Another great Canadian.
Yeah, absolutely. First time I ever met Katya, she was teaching Medieval Academy. No, not Medieval Academy. Another old Lang game. Anyway, weird memory. Okay, my number 5. It's funny, I can remember stuff from like a year ago, but ask me what I had for lunch. No. Chicken salad sandwich. My number 5. My number 5. So again, my interpretation of fantasy themes comes off of playing Diablo and the Elder Scrolls games when I was younger. That's just what I've always had in my head, the very traditional sense of fantasy. And so my number 5 is a game that will be hitting Kickstarter very soon as a reprint of Ethnos. Oh, Ethnos is a really great card drafting and territory control game. Yes.
Mike has fantasies about a chicken.
No, that's June. Food themes. So yeah,
she's a sweetheart for playing along. I'm just saying, Katya's so kind to us for not just turning it off immediately as soon as we get stupid.
So this is a Arcane Academy. There it is. Sweet. So this is a really good, like I said, drafting territory control game by Paolo Maiori, designer of Libertalia, which has also been reprinted. Yeah, Ethnos is really good. One, because it supports 6. I'm always trying to find games that support 6 or more. That is just one of those weird player counts. And so every time I find a good strategy game that's not party or social deduction, yes, it'll be Archaeos Society. But it's got orcs and giants and goblins and dragons and wyverns, and
it's good. It's good.
And it's a great game. I like how fast turns are. You draw a card. That's your turn. Like, not multiple. You don't do anything else. You just draft a card. That's it. Or you're playing your hand of cards, but you're set collecting. You can collect sets in 2 different ways. You can either collect a faction, so you can have a whole hand of giants, or you can have a whole hand that's all the same color. So now, they could be giants and halflings.
If I'm sitting across from you and I'm trying to deduce what's in your hand, might I say they might be giants? Just asking.
Wow. We're 90s humor tonight. My goodness.
It was a long way to go, but everybody came along.
We
got to the punchline there.
Yeah, we a long way down this rabbit hole. That's for sure. Did you catch that 90s song reference? Goo Goo Dolls. Anyway, long way down. Twister. was in the Twister soundtrack, Tim. Oh, he buffered now. You're the movie buff. Tell me you remember Long Way Down. I won't continue until you're done buffering. You confirmed, Long Way Down on the Twister soundtrack.
Hold on. I know Long Way Down because I love Goo Goo Dolls. But
okay,
here's a confession. I've never seen Twister.
Oh, I've seen a movie Tim hasn't seen. I'm calling it a night.
It's by choice. Because here's the thing. Is
there an actor in there you don't like?
No, it's filled with actors I love. It's got Philip Seymour Hoffman, Bill Paxton, Laura
You don't
Dern,
like weather
right?
themes?
No, here's the thing. That movie was so popular when it came out. I was like, this movie's got to be terrible. I hate it. There was like hipster Tim back then. If everybody likes it,
like you were with Darwin's Journey. That's right. Euro hotness? I can't like this. Okay, so Ethnos, really great game, especially if you haven't played it or are considering back it. It's very easy to pick up. It plays pretty quick. There's good tension at the end of a round because it's a game where you're going through a deck, but there's 3 dragons in the deck. When you pull the third one, the round ends. So when the second one comes out, everybody's like, crap, I got to hurry up. I got to play my cards. But no, maybe I can make my set bigger. Oh no, if it comes back to me and they draw dragons. So I like that tension in the game. And it's a cool mix of card drafting and territory control. Every time you play cards, you're putting control markers in a territory, and then you're doing end of round scoring based on having the most control in an area. It's area majority, if you will. But really good game. I got it out. I got that out a few months ago. I think Bob played it for the first time, and it seemed like everybody at the table really liked it. So it's a great game.
Yeah, Ethnos is really good. I've only played it once or twice, but I had a really good experience both times. That's a good pick.
Yeah. So anyway, my very, very old school traditional fantasy games. This is what you're going to get from my list. That's just what I think of when I think of fantasy games. So. All righty. I guess that means we can jump to your 4.
All right.
It wasn't Bob. We did have new players at that play though. But anyway.
Yeah. Man, it's really tough to pick a number 4, but I'm gonna go with one that I'm gonna buffer.
All the comments on the movie Twister. I still think it's funny. It's a super popular movie that I've seen and Tim hasn't. That's just really funny to me. Hi Tim.
Yeah.
I wasn't rubbing that in your face at all.
Oh, look, even Jazz has seen Twister. What's going on here? No, I know. I know Twister's a good movie, and
it's a movie.
No, I mean it's like a good fun movie. I love like Speed, right? And and things like that. Like it's right along those that kind of movie. It's action packed. It's adrenaline filled.
Feel good.
It's fun. Again, absolutely a dynamite cast. I can name the whole cast. I've just never seen the damn thing. John DeBont directed it, I think, and he is the guy actually that was the cinematographer for Speed. See, I'm a movie nerd.
I'm sure he was.
But anyways, all that aside, my number 4 is the only game in my collection or only game on this list that I don't own. It's because what's up, Brandon? Welcome. It's because I really want to get the first edition. If I'm going to get this game, I have to have the first edition because of the components and the art and all the stuff with it. I'm undefeated in this game. And that is Tyrants of the Underdark. This is as fantasy as it gets. I mean, you're playing dark elves, Draugr or whatever they're called. I mean, it is Dungeons and Dragons.
There's
literally.
rogues.
Yeah.
Rogue cards. Archers.
Tyrants of the Underdark is such a neat twist on like a deck building with a board. There's territory control. There's the way you cull your deck, right? So you're going to cull your deck so you can score those cards later. So the very powerful cards that are going to give you really good actions are also worth a ton of points. And so you've got to balance when you can bank those cards for later. Mike, you and I played this like right after we played our epic game of Ankh at DruidCon.
It's my first time finally playing it.
Thank you, Bob. I know you love Drits. They're called Drow. They're called Drow, actually. And yeah. Anyways, it's a fantastic game. It's really underrated. It's really good. And yeah, Bob, the new Top Gun's pretty good, right? Oh, the cards for the second edition. Okay, Wayne, I'm listening. I am listening.
Yeah, because the new edition has all the expansions, but only cardboard. The old one has the plastic. I will say,
and sorry, Brandon. If I knew I needed to wait for you to talk about Flashpoint, I would have. But
I did not include this one or Lords of Waterdeep.
I don't have Lords of Waterdeep on my list.
They don't really. That theme doesn't really come out in that game, and so
it does. You're just looking at it the wrong way. Let me just tell Katya real quick though. True Lies and Speed. Holy crap! You want to talk about videotapes that I probably wore out because I watched so much.
The part that I think of when it comes to fantasy themed doesn't present itself much in that version. There we go. So that's why I didn't put it on my list. But my number 4, this is an old classic. This is one of the first heavy games I really jumped into. Like, I think this was top 10 when I bought this. And at the time, it was a beast to learn. And it's not bad getting back into it. But, again, with the traditional gnomes and fakirs and we got witches, we've got mermaids, we've got it's Terra Mystica.
Oh, I'm like, come on, where are we going with this?
It's Terra Mystica.
When you said the fakirs, I was thinking of 5 tribes, and I'm like, that for me would go more along mythology,
right?
Then
I knew it'd steer some people in a different direction when I said that too. But Terra Mystica is a great game. Every faction is a different fantasy character, and they all play very differently. And I just like the variety, the asymmetric abilities that this game presents. It was like top 10 when I bought it, which was, it's what, like 9 years old now. And now there's 2 expansions for it. I've only got the first one, the Fire and Ice, and now there's a Merchants expansion for it. I keep hearing that Gaia is better, so I bought it, but I still love Terra Mystica. I just haven't played it in quite some time.
Mike,
I skipped right over Small World, so I've never played it.
Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal, Mike.
Yes.
I will play Belfort with you if you teach me how to play Terra Mystica.
Oh, dude. Oh, my gosh. I'd love to get a game of Terra Mystica.
Because I own it. I've never played it. I bought it because it was a hot game. It sounded really cool. The way you shift your bulls around. You know what I mean? Like the Mancala part of it.
It shines with more players because that power mechanic where you're shifting those powers around your bull. And I knew I wasn't even sure if I was pronouncing it right. So who knows?
And some of that reminds me of Vindication, like because in Vindication you're assigning like on your attribute board you're assigning like kind of where your powers are going to go. I know it's different.
See that. I can see that. This one's just. It's like you're cycling them. They got to start over here. You got 3 bulls. You got to start over here, and then you got to shift them over here. But then you got to move them back to this 3rd bull, and that's where you can actually use that power. And you get a lot of your power by building adjacent to other people. So bigger player counts, you're more likely to build adjacent to people, and so those power bulls are going to be firing off a lot more frequently. So you get a lot more extra actions that way. And yes, I hear that, it's got a better tech tree and Gaia. And so I want to try it. I like Terra Mystica so much that I just went out and got Gaia too. I'll gladly keep both. I don't care. I've thought about selling Terra Mystica so many times. I'm like, no, that was the first heavy game I really got into. And I would still play it to this day. There's no reason for me to sell that game. I'm just always tempted to cull games if they sit too long. So, but man, yeah, Terra Mystica is fantastic. It was one of the first ones I thought of for this list, quite honestly. It takes me all the way back to like my start of gaming. So. All right.
Yeah, David Gaia Project is 100% rethemed.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
again,
it's a lot. I mean,
nothing wrong with having just going, that game's too crunchy for me. It's too much. If that's not your jam, it's not your jam.
Yeah.
You know, don't sit down for a few hours for a game if you're just going to be unhappy the whole time. Play games that make you happy, you know.
I'll be the first one to tell you I prefer elegant games, and I'm always impressed with games that have great decisions with less rules. That's impressive to me. I prefer games that are medium or less. But you know, I'll play anything. But I have definitely played some games that were too much, and I didn't enjoy them because they were too much.
Sure. It's funny you say that though, because you do enjoy. And I think you and I align a lot with that, where it's like, I do like medium or less games a lot more, because if I have a bad time with it or I'm having a bad game, it's over quickly.
Yeah.
But there are some crunchy games and real heavy games that I just absolutely love.
Oh yeah.
But it's tough. It can be, I reserve the right to be very fickle, you know, with that, like, the ones I love, I absolutely love and will go to bat, all the time for. And then the ones I don't like, I'm like, no, I see why this is a good game. I'm just not going to sit and play it unless it's like, hey, Tim, everybody's coming over to play game X. So if you want to play it, and I'll be like, yeah, I want to play game X. But if I'm sitting down at a game night and we're all like, oh, what do you feel like playing? And somebody, for example, brings out Darwin's Journey, and it's like, you know what? I didn't have a good time when I played that last time. I'll play 2 or 3 games while you guys play Darwin's Journey. I will just have a better time playing these shorter games. And it's not that Darwin's Journey is a bad game. It's not at all. It's just sometimes when I'm rolling into a game night, yeah, sometimes you just suck at it. And sometimes though, when I roll into a game night, it's like, okay, this is the one game night I've got in like 3 weeks. I would just want to play as many games as I can, you know? So sometimes it's like, let me just play like 3 or 4 games that I really love, and have a better time than one game that I may be iffy on.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, another worker placement game, I would still tell you Anachrony is my favorite worker placement game of all time.
It's so good.
The crunchiness in that game, the setup, the time is worth it. And I know I may only get to play that like once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it. It's incredible.
Well, that's why I was giving you a hard time in the chat about Tricarion and Darwin's Journey, because Tricarion, right, is going to be very crunchy.
Yes.
It's really good. It's really good. And the theme is so cool. Again, heavy, crunchy game that I love. But it's like, man, I'm not sitting and playing that and Darwin's Journey in the same day. I'm not playing Tricarion and Anachrony in the same day. I'm using up all my brain power.
Yeah.
I need to play some Happy Salmon. I need to play some Race Set Bet. I got to like have a couple palate cleansers in there, you know, something I could like power down for a little bit, like, and just jam out.
And typically if I'm doing like an all day thing, give me that crunchiness first. Let me use that brain power while it's fresh. I'd rather not be playing games all day, and then you're like, hey, sit down for this. Ooh, yeah. Brain power's been expended. No. Yeah.
Wow.
There aren't a whole lot that I hate. But yeah, the other thing is too, most of these like crunchy games, I don't like to read rule books. I'd rather watch videos. And sometimes that's not enough. And so I'd much rather have somebody teach me one of these games, and then if I like it, I'll go buy it. But like me buying it for the sake of playing it for the first time, yeah, I'd rather just somebody else teach me a game. I got plenty of others to play until then. That's the way I look at it.
And Brandon's right.
Oh, it depends on familiarity for sure, Bob. That makes a big difference. I am just so frequently, if I'm doing like an all day gaming thing, I'm playing multiple games that are new to me. That's my goal, in fact.
Ginger, that wasn't Brandon's point. Brandon's point is that when they reprinted Happy Salmon, they put it in a box and they took it out of the neoprene fish. I'm guessing that's his issue.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
This would be a list if we have Jason on from Board Game Mechanics because he is a musician.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot of those, unfortunately. I
still got to play some. I still got to play Andrews.
You do in harmonic.
Yeah.
You do. All right, let's get to number 3. Oh, that's a ticker. Is it? What happened? It didn't play. I don't know why it didn't play the first time.
I love it. It's cutting off because I'm like, it's not even a ticker because it was still saying number 4. Holy crap. Okay, so I've been trying to dodge crossover with Mike because there's a game that deserves.
Mike, you already know one.
Mike, you need to write down this one down to the list.
That's spicy. That is spicy.
That is so spicy.
Oh, right? Wow. It's getting written down, Chris. Top 5 games not to play with news.
Oh, there we go. Science-themed games. You know, Jason, honestly, dude, if you ever think you could stream with us one night, that might be something to do. That might be something that Mike and I have got to open up to and have some fun stuff. Oh my God. Yeah. No Lacerdas, Ginger. No Lacerdas with new, unless, because somebody's going to be new, right? Everybody's going to be new. Hey, Chris, I will tell you, I take turns fast, even when I'm new. I don't care. And David's getting in on the jokes. Mike, you got to see this one. We're having problems with our ticker.
Nice.
Okay, so in interest of dodging crossover, but being true to one of my favorite fantasy games that I have played, and you could take 2nd or 3rd edition. There's your clue. I forget the name of the world that this takes place in, but Descent. Holy crap. I love me some Descent. I will play Descent. I could do, for example, I could do a game day where we could just play Descent all day. I love Descent that much. I could just let's run through as much of a campaign as we can. I know I've played so much of it. I'm very comfortable with the rules system. I love the app because there's surprises. 3rd edition, they do a really good. 2nd edition did this when they implemented the app as well. It just does a really good job of putting the pressure on you. You know, it's like you can be good at the game, and that game's still going to try to smack you around and beat you down as best as it can. And so, for me, just dollar for dollar, Descent is one of the best games that I put money into. Bought expansions for, extra characters for. The boring world. It's generic fantasy world. I don't care when I'm playing that game. I love it, and I have such a good time. I really do. But I mean, Imperial Assault proved that you could theme Descent with any rule set, or put any theme on that rule set, because I guess to me, it's just that good of a bones to make a game for. Descent might be in the same Runebound universe, actually. I believe it is.
Rune Wars, Rune Age.
But Descent is so good. I have so much time into that game and have had so much fun playing it. Because I don't care about the overall world. I care about the campaign I'm in, right? The campaign I'm playing, and you're these guys and you're trying to do this. Just super fun. And really good. Love it. So much time into it. It is a dungeon crawl game, but you level up your characters. You know, you get new equipment, you get skills, especially 3rd edition, right? With the crafting and stuff that they've involved in it. And it's just I've always just had a great experience with it. I ironically hated it when Dungeons and Dragons did their 4th edition, and it basically was Descent. And I don't want my D&D like that. I want my D&D like 3.5 or advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I do not want my D&D to be like Descent. I want to play Descent. I want to play my D&D. But yeah, it's super fun. David's with me. Like, we're going to rock and roll, man. Descent's really good. It's a ton of fun. I have a great time playing it. I love difficult co-ops. It's just a good time. It's a really good time.
Descent was one of my gateway games. I never bought it. And the reason was because it's got to be a game that I'm playing multiple times in a row or just leaving set up. I just never had that opportunity for the longest time. And I kind of realized that dungeon crawling is not really one of my favorite things in a game. And so I've not played Descent in probably 10 years.
Oh, sure. I guarantee you.
I would play it again.
It would take you 10 minutes. It would take you 10 minutes to pick it back up. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. Move, attack, or attack, then move, then use a spell.
It's so straightforward.
Unfortunately, that is why those games aren't as interesting to me, because there's only like 3 or 4 things I can do on my turn. It's really just what order am I going to do them in? But it's kind of cool to figure out like how I can like time that with my teammates. Just not my favorite stuff. But great system.
Bob and I both, Defenders of the Realm is both Bob and I's one of our favorite games. I am leaving it off of my list because I always talk about Defenders of the Realm. Again, generic fantasy. But Defenders of the Realm is one of my favorite. And yes, like Bob, it is a total pandemic killer for me. So much to the point where it's like, I don't want to play Pandemic. I really don't. I don't.
You guys have been talking this game up for so long. I need to play it.
Yeah, you know what? You should play Defenders of the Last Stand with us. Have a good time with that. It's the Mad Max version.
Ah, nice.
It's harder.
Oh boy. Nice. Okay. I guess that brings us to my number 3.
What is happening? New Hero Defenders of the Realm is coming soon. What? Okay, sorry, Mike. Please go on. I'm having problems with my ticker because I heard about it.
I can't remember like all of the fantasy characters that are in this, but it doesn't really matter. So this is like a worker placement hybrid, and it was the first game I ever reviewed with Board Game Rundown. It's Dwellings of Eldervale. Which, by the way, let me just pull this up because it's worth it. If you were to ask me what my favorite box cover of all time is, it's that. That is just a masterpiece to me. The colors pop off this box. I see these realms in the background, and I see stuff in the front, and there's depth to this, and there's colors, and there's fantastical beasts. This cover makes me want to play the game. Anyway, the components are fantastic in this game, but this is, at its heart, this is a worker placement game. This is Luke Laurie. And Luke Laurie makes worker placement games with recall mechanics, so you can do some tableau building. That's his bag. And it works really well in this game. I did not back Andromeda's Edge because it's similar enough to Dwellings from what I've heard. And I didn't think I needed another version of this game. Plus, it's a lot of money to get it. It should be available retail. And there's still tons of content in this box that I have not touched. There are 8 different colors of factions. Plus, I knew Bob would back it. There are 8 different colors of factions, and they're double-sided. So there's 16 versions of variable player powers. I played this game 5 times, so I've only experienced 5 out of the 16. And it's just really interesting. I mean, there's a lot going on, but it's a great game. I like how you're putting these workers out, and you start with basic workers, and but the fact is that you can put a worker where an enemy is, and then you're going to fight. Now you get the resources first, so that's great. You get to use the space, but then you're going to fight. You're in the same area, and you're contesting rival factions, and so you fight, and then whoever loses goes to Eldervale, or not Eldervale. Eldervale is where you're building your dwellings. Whatever they call the underworld or whatever. You come back avenged with like an extra reroll when you lose a battle, but when you win, you get to stay on that place, and that gives you a better chance to build your dwellings. Because to build a dwelling, you have to turn a worker into one. So you're losing a worker, but you're gaining a dwelling. But dwellings are the main way to score points. They also give you additional dice in combat. And I like this combat mechanic. I'm just going to break it down real quick. I've actually heard people, some in this chat, say, I don't like luck in games. Very much not true. The fact of how battle works in Dwellings of Eldervale, you have a limit of 6 combat dice. If Tim's rolling 2 and I'm rolling 6, single highest result is the winner. Single highest. So if Tim rolls 1-6, he wins. If I don't roll any 6s, it doesn't matter that I got my whole crew hanging out. I'm rolling all 6 dice.
Rules, baby.
And so I just love that there's that chance that the battle can swing on this one simple dice roll. And it's exciting. Like I've jumped up like, whoa, how did I just take out this monster with my one piddly little worker? Sometimes you're fighting monsters instead of other people. And I just like that swing of battle. I'm totally cool with that. Yes, you do get a sword if you lose, and a sword is a reroll if you roll a crappy roll later. You can also use it to add an extra combat die. So you have ways to get more other than just how many people you send into battle. But it's really interesting. There's so much variable player power. There's so much content in here. There's multiple modules. I'm like, why would I go pay 200 plus for Andromeda's Edge when there's still tons of content in here that I have not played yet? So anyway, I'm sure it'll be fantastic, and I will very much look forward to playing it. But that's why I didn't back it. I think Dwellings is great.
Yeah, good pick. I only played it the one time. I thought it was incredible. I love that. Like, I had a harder time deciding which faction because I just was basically handed a board, but it's 2-sided. And so it's like, oh man, both of these are so cool. And then it's just a box full of those awesome, cool factions you can play, which I love. And I hope you talk about later on your list, talking about games with tons of amazing factions to play.
I already told you that would be our crossover.
I left it off my list because I was hoping you would have it. If you don't, I'll call it in.
So I am also actually, I'm putting these in order of kind of how I ranked them when we did our top 50. That's actually how I'm doing this list. Terra Mystica and Ethnos did not make my top 50. I would put them both in my top 100. Terra Mystica, I just haven't played in so long. It's falling, and that's the only reason. Dwellings, I had in like the 40s. And the next two were dipping into my top 30. So
nice. So yeah, David, I know people don't like dice rolling in games, like, oh, it's just like Risk. No, there's so much. You could play a full game of Dwellings and never need to roll the die because you could just be doing other things to advance up the tracks. Am I wrong, Mike? I mean, you can.
It's unlikely that you'll be able to completely avoid combat because the game is tight in its space.
Well, it is.
It constricts where you can put people. You're going to have to put people where others are. It's just going to happen. And it's not because you're trying to be aggressive. It's because you want the stuff on that spot.
Like, I just need the stuff.
You're guaranteed the stuff. It's just, are you going to win the battle afterwards?
So, man, that's the thing is sometimes winning the battle doesn't matter, right? So this is a game where you don't necessarily need to win the battles to be effective. Which is why what separates it from Risk.
Right.
You can go in fully expecting to lose a battle, may accidentally win, which will then piss off, the person who should have won, maybe. And yeah, Brandon, you're right. The monsters do come to you.
They
So
follow.
that makes it fun too. Cause you're like, I don't want to get too close to that thing.
If you go into this game, and I've played that way, I played a faction that was very much combat focused, and I forced it a lot, and I won a lot of them, and I got crushed. I got crushed by the player that had more dwellings and more cards in his tableau, because that's how you score. Just because you're winning combats doesn't mean you're effectively managing. Right. It's still resource management.
And I think that was the point I was trying to get, is that unlike Risk, right? You don't have to win all your combats. That's
the only way you win at Risk.
It's not the best strategy. Right. But again, if you don't like the dice rolling, then I mean, it is a part.
You're not gonna like it.
I like chucking dice. I know Nix likes chucking dice because he just said so in the comments. One of my all-time favorite games is Cthulhu Wars. I mean, you roll dice for combat in that game. It happens. There's mitigation. There's things you can do, but I don't mind it. I like it. I grew up playing Risk and Access and Allies and stuff like that.
I know we're like about done with it, but I just hey, I can do visual aids now, and this is just one of my favorite games to look at. It's just so gorgeous to me. All the components are fantastic. Game trays, the art on the box, the art on the cards, just an absolute home run of a production in this game.
Yeah.
It is incredible to look at. I mean, all of this I'm top tier components and art for me. I freaking love just looking and touching this game, let alone playing it.
It's beautiful. It is a beautiful game from top to bottom, and it plays really well. It's a really good game. Good pick, Mike. Brandon,
not my number one though.
Brandon, your comment almost makes me want to change my number 2, which I originally had as an honorable mention, because I did get my start playing Warhammer back in the day. Reed, I love you, man, but you picked your topic, which then inspired all of the other topics for the rest of the month.
You picked space themes. And so we decided to do themes all month long. It's a thing now.
So, but Reed, do me a favor, because Reed's going to be on next week with us when we do sci-fi. Reed, do me a favor. Write down your top 5 fantasy. Well, write down your top 5 fantasy, and we'll just run through it. Like, I just want to hear what his top 5 fantasy games would be. We got time for that.
Feel free to post them in our live chat. Everybody else does.
Yeah.
It's theme month. Theme month,
Brett.
And then Cassie is going to be here for modern themes on the 17th.
We got to make sure she's cool with that. We can change it for Cassie.
We got 3 themes left. We can do any of them. The order doesn't matter.
Let me just hold on, because Brett, I love to see Brett here, because part of my story about how I came to do the show actually involves Brett in a roundabout way. Because my thing was, I used to help run those open game nights, right? On, at Fantasy Games, which is a store that we film at. And Brett was one of the dudes there. He's a guy that I met because of that open game night. And awesome dude. I actually had gone years without seeing him, run into him at Gen Con, chat with him for 5-10 minutes. Wonderful to see him. If I feel like now I run into him randomly at conventions, I cannot wait to get to play a game with him again. We'll have to figure that out. But Brett, thank you so much for being here. It's awesome. It's like a wonderful blast from the past, right? And yeah, Trevor's on it. We're going to throw in heat and dwellings, and then Trevor's going to give me $15. This is a three-way trade.
And then Tim's going to give me Truffle Shuffle.
Perfect. It's perfect. Everybody's happy. I got $15. Mike gets Truffle Shuffle. Trevor gets heat and dwellings. Yes. All is right with the world. It's perfect. And Katya, if that doesn't work for you, we also have nature themes. So you can pick that one. And then historical, was that the other one? History?
History themes.
History themes. And
So those
Katya,
are the other three.
if you don't like any of those, guess what?
We can do another theme.
Pick a different theme. We'll make
Yes.
Mike make up a whole new thumbnail.
I'll make a new calendar.
Guess what? Mike doesn't care. He'd be so happy to do it. We would love to accommodate you.
My version of historical is probably not going to be like, I don't have a whole bunch of like, you know, war games and stuff like that. So it's going to be different.
And yeah, Brett, one day, dude, when I run into you at Gen Con, we just need to go, you know what? Like, what are we doing? Let's play a game together. Let's do something. If you're going to be at Origins or something, anything, let me know. We will carve out some time. We're going to play a game together. Oh, I love her.
So
honesty.
not that one.
I love her honesty.
Well,
That's
it's
so
not
good.
like I said. It's not going to be like the battle of, you know, name one. For me, it's going to be like, okay, try not to talk about Concordia.
I don't. Gosh, pirates. But you have a ton of pirate games. Nice.
Dang.
I don't know. I've got so many random freaking games that it's hard for me to say that the majority of my collection is like one thing. So Flights of Fantasy. No, I don't know if
I see what he's doing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh. Katya, I wish you were going to be at like one of the big cons so Mike and I could play Concordia with you. And then you would just be like, okay, guys, you got to stop. Because Mike and I would just be so excited. Yeah, no, I love history stuff. But I'm a nerd of all kinds. Like I just love I was such a hardcore nerd before it was cool to be a nerd. I'm just gonna say it, right? I was that kid. I moved a lot. I didn't have a ton of friends, you know, so it's like I got into comic books and then I got into history because my dad was into history, you know, and and I just get into all of these other different things, you know, and in music. But the thing is, and then I became a bartender, and then all of that well-roundedness.
Oh, he just completely cut off. That was an unexpected buffer. That was weird.
Yeah,
okay.
I got way but anyways, all of that well-roundedness made me a really good bartender because then I could talk to anybody about anything.
Where is it? Where'd it go? I should stand up, but I'm not going to. That was fantastic.
I almost broke the PG rule with the Chris. I love it. It's totally deserved. I guess I'm just better at Concordia, and also Concordia doesn't take 2.5 hours to play. So if I'm out of Concordia, and I'm not out of Concordia on my second turn. But yeah. Anyways.
Oh, that was good. That was good. No, Tim and I both have Concordia as like our favorite game of all time. So it's like it's sort of like we talk about it so much, we almost don't put it on lists because we talk about it all the time. We talk about it in every video.
Wayne, I don't know. Oh, is that Dice Tower East? I don't know what DTE is. Oh, okay. No, Wayne, I'm not going to be at Dice Tower. It's down in like Orlando, right? Geographically, Origins and Gen Con I can drive to in under half a day and get there easy. And so those are the ones.
Oh boy.
And Brett, listen, if you're busy, you're busy, but we'll try to make some time, man. I'd love to play another game with you. Oh boy, 3 of you in one accord for Concordia. Here we go.
All right. Tim, let's
Brandon, yes.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Brandon just said he needs to see if any of his friends want to go to Gen Con. I'm just going to tell you right now, if any of you guys are at Origins or Gen Con and you want to hang out with us, hop on the Discord, hop on Facebook, send us a message. We want to hang out with you. We want to play games with you. And
we have a booth at both. That's right. We have a booth. And so as soon as we know the booth number, we'll plaster it everywhere.
I know the
Come
booth
play
number.
games with us.
I've got the booth number somewhere.
We're going to be streaming us playing games in our booth and other stuff, whatever else we can come up with. Okay,
that's a bummer.
Whoops.
That's a bummer.
That's really pushing you to buy all those extra cards. My goodness, that would be a huge hand.
Lord of
Imagine
mercy.
you can play like 15 cards before you have to play your Tribune card. That would be nuts.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, Tim, I think we should like maybe actually get to your 2. Is that reasonable? Okay, number 2.
Okay, number 2. This was really tough. Now I'm gonna say that my old Warhammer love was coming back, and my honorable mention for that one would have been Gore Chosen, because that is a Warhammer themed, that is straight fantasy. Gore Chosen, super fun, crazy good. Anyways, it's just madness. But no, my number 2 is the complete opposite of Gore Chosen. It is the most wholesome and pleasant game. It's so family friendly. It's so cute. It has art comparable to Dwellings of Eldervale, where it is amazing art, beautiful artwork, and that is Everdell. I love Everdell. I came very late to Everdell. I played Everdell for the first time late last year. I traded a friend of the show, Rob Silver, for his copy of Everdell with a bunch of expansions. I haven't played the expansions.
Ooh, this is another one that's so popular. I'm just like, I'll just wait till somebody else can teach it to me. So that hasn't happened. I never bought it. Yeah, same thing. It's so popular. Like, I'll find people playing it eventually.
Yeah, Mike, we could play it. I could teach you. We could play it in an hour. We could play it with new people. It's really good. The art is cute and it's fun. It's a really nice engine builder. It's very elegant. You like well-designed, elegant games, and that is exactly what this is. It's really good. It's really good. I can bring it to. I taught my wife and the in-laws this game, and they've asked to play it again. And they do that with. Thankfully, they do that with games I love, like Taverns and Quacks and stuff like that. But Everdell it gets requested now by them because it's also pleasant to look at. So while you're trying to figure it out, like you're at least in this very nice, fantasy world with anthropomorphic animals and stuff. And yeah.
Wow, I guess Tim is really going to struggle with this nature theme by keeping his anthropomorphic
I'll just
animals.
Have crossover.
There you go. I knew that was coming. So I was just looking. I was going back to Reed's list here. We can post the whole thing if you'd like. Now I see why this guy made a deck builder with traders in it. Social deduction fan. I like it. I love social deduction. I did not think to put. I put a One Night Ultimate Werewolf in my top 50. I did not think to put that in this list at all. I guess it's because I needed the theme to kind of shine a little bit more for me to do so. Yeah.
So Andrew, just so you know, no superheroes, because all of the superheroes that I'm into are modern. And so Mike and I both went with more like fantasy, more traditional style of fantasy.
Goblins and dragons and wizards and gnomes. All of my games have those.
And I will say, Brett, maybe I do have several of the expansions. So, but like you, I haven't gotten there yet. I don't play Everdell every day or even every week. So I could see it getting old if that's the case. But again, I have enough of the expansions I could start to integrate. And yeah, Taverns of Quacks. It'll be the new Wolfgang Warsch game.
Yes.
I'd play it if it had Wolfgang's name on it because he's amazing. even if I don't love the mind or whatever, I mean, you don't have to love everything that somebody makes. You can love most of it, and they can still be a designer that you enjoy quite a bit.
Or maybe the mind of quacks, where like you, without talking, you have to predict who's going to play the lowest chip.
Ooh.
Uh,
Sounds like
all right, I'll pull
nightmare.
first. I'm gonna try and pull my one out. All right. So this is so yeah, since since some of you may have missed our intro, Timmer and I are definitely doing very traditional fantasy. For me, it just stems off of being younger and playing like Baldur's Gate and Diablo and all the Elder Scrolls games. So to me, fantasy reminds me of those games. And so I went very, very traditional fantasy for this entire list. And the one that Tim has absolutely been waiting for me to say that he was leaving off of this list.
Yes. Hold on 1 second, though. I want to address something.
Okay.
Pablo, the last few times I played Everdell, I didn't put the tree together. I just laid out those cards on the top at the top of the play area to represent where they would be, because it is a lot to put that tree together and stuff. And if people are sitting around a table, it's inconvenient. So high fantasy actually has like magic and dragons. Well, not just magic and dragons, but magic and like all the other races, right? And not just humans. Low fantasy might have dragons, but it's really just humans and maybe very little magic and stuff. So now,
yeah, not sure. Thank you for the clarification, because I would have no idea. I'm not super huge into.
And Chris is a modern day wizard, just throwing fireballs today.
That's true. Okay, so this is the one that Tim has been waiting to talk about. This game is in his top 10. I've been wanting to play this game for years. It is a true 4X in every sense of the word. And I played it once and fell in love, and that is Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Just look at the box. You've got an orc, an archer, you got a gnome, you got a mage back there. And this is a 4X game with all of these high fantasy characters either trying to build up their castle the highest and trigger the end game that way. Or maybe you're trying to trigger the end of the game by wiping out someone else's castle. Or maybe you're trying to explore the entire map and trigger the end of the game that way. Or maybe you're trying to expand and build all of your basic workers out. Those are the 4Xs, and those are the 4 in-game triggers in this game. However, it is a points race, so you got to be clever about what you're doing and making sure that they are scoring you points. And the one game I played of this, I did wipe out another player's castle, which Tim says he's played this several times and he's never even seen it happen. And I just I was just like, I'm just going to accumulate resources and figure out what to do with them once I have a resource engine going. So I did. I controlled some areas. I had stuff coming in that I wanted. And yes, sir. It was.
That's the Florida man version.
Perks, Vikes, and weed. That's what it was. That's a shout out. I can explain later if you want. I probably shouldn't though. This is G-rated. But man, this game's fantastic, Tim. Like, I want to. I need a copy of this game, or maybe I just always hold it over Bob's head that he wants to trade me this for dwellings, but now he's got Andromeda's Edge coming in, so he won't want it anymore. But this game's so good. I loved playing this game. It feels epic. Like, it feels like, okay, I'm collecting stuff, and now, okay, I'm building more guys, and now I'm building more buildings, and okay, I got to start thinking about defending myself, and let's start building these troops. And man, it's just this epic buildup. And I got to tell you, it was super satisfying to take out that other player's castle in this game. Especially when Tim said it's just not, yes, twice. Especially when Tim said it's a thing that does not happen much in this game. It was, oh my gosh. And Tim, how much stuff is there for this game?
So much. I'm looking over at it now, and it's 2 gigantic boxes, and I consolidated stuff.
You've consolidated.
There's
so 4
much
gigantic boxes.
So Brett, let me just say, it's not hard to teach if somebody already kind of knows the rules.
Not bad.
It is not overly complicated. Different factions will play differently. It is truly an asymmetric game where you're going to gain benefits by trying to steer into how your faction plays. But I will say that it is not overly complicated. I would try for your first game to just do a 3 to 4 player game. Keep it easy. But it's really, once everybody kind of understands the iconography of it, it goes pretty quick, especially once you understand how all the actions work. What actions can be followed by other people copying your actions and things like that. Once you understand the action mechanic of this game, it goes down very easy. This game is absolutely fantastic. If anybody is going to be at a convention and they're like, I really want to know how to play that, I'll bring this. I'm not going to just bring it and hope it gets played. But if somebody's like, hey, man, I'm coming to a con, I'd love to learn how to play this. Guess what? Mike and I will play this game with you at a drop of a hat. I'm speaking for you, Mike.
It's epic. It's really good.
But yes, it's really good. It's really fun. It's kind of wild, like how things can go down. And I enjoy it quite a bit. I think it's a great game. Honestly, any of the other tiny epic games, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's fine. But this is the Gamelin games that I will never get rid of. I will always have my copy of this game. I love it. I think it's great. There's so much to this game. I still have plenty of factions that I've never played as. So I'm good to go. Whenever somebody wants to play this game, Mike was bothering me, not really bothering me. Mike was bringing it up. Hey, I need to play this game. I want to play this game. I want to play this game. I'm in, right? Like, yeah. I am in. Mike, let's do it. Mike and I played the game.
We played the game. It was 4 players. 1 player was the undead. I think Tim was the goblins or the orcs. We had orcs and goblins.
So we had goblins, orcs, humans, and
I was purple, and they were an expansion. Lizard folk.
Lizardmen.
Yeah, Root is way more asymmetric. You were almost playing an entirely different game. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, everybody is doing the same basic actions, but after you have upgraded your castle, that's where things start to steer completely differently.
Yeah, Brett, it is not like Root at all. Everybody fundamentally starts off working the same way. And Mike might have been saying that, and I apologize. But as you your faction will basically give you a way to break a rule that nobody else can break, right? And then as you upgrade and unlock new units and special characters and stuff, that's when it gets more asymmetrical to your faction. But by the time you're doing that, you know how those characters work, and you're going to see how they function in that universe.
I thought I saw a close-up of one of the player boards, because that's really the meat and potatoes of where the asymmetry is in this game. But it's after you've upgraded a few times. Oh, perfect. So, yeah, your player boards. These are the humans. It looks like, Tim.
Hey,
and yeah, so everybody has got serfs and warriors, but only the humans have the paladins, a mage, a swashbuckler. Everybody has a galley and an airship, but these are like kind of upgraded troops that you can spend resources to recruit. And they get better as you upgrade your capital city over here on the left. It's, oh man, really good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's super fun. And that's a testament to Mike right there. This is this comment here is a credit to Mike. So
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm the planner. The problem is when you have a bunch of people on the same channel, you have to get everybody on the same page to enact a plan. So I was really happy when Reed picked a topic, and then I went, wait a minute, we could do a bunch like that topic. Let's just do it for the whole month. So yes, thank you. I'm happy to be able to do that.
It helps that it's just two of us, you know, with the occasional guest, and that Mike and I can just commit. We know every Wednesday we're doing this. I think in the future going forward, this is probably a thing we're going to try to do. It does make it easier. And hopefully you guys like it too, but we also like having the flexibility, right? So if, for example, Katya is going to be on later this month, maybe we still stick with our theme of the month, which is themed games. But maybe that theme changes because of our guest. Whatever. I'd rather accommodate our guests and have them have a nice time, be comfortable, than to shoehorn some crap in, right?
Yeah. I mean, because even I've had to steer us away from topics because I'm like, Tim, I don't think I'm particularly strong there. So last thing we want to do is bring guests on and they're not comfortable with their topics. So we always let them choose.
Yeah, 100%.
I was actually trying to find the faction that I was, and I wasn't. Oh, wait, no, here it is. The Ranger right there. That's the guy that won me the game, the Ranger. So nobody saw this coming.
I won the game. Excuse me.
Oh, I won that game. I did not win the game. I triggered the end game. I'm not figuring out how to zoom left or right here. But this Ranger is, as far as I know, one of the few that allows you to attack from an adjacent region. And he just has to be all the other troops just have to be, because all of your units attack as a unit. Like this whole space attacks.
But Mike, when you had said that 3 turns ago and I was paying attention, I would have done everything differently from when I started the game. So you got to let me retake all my turns.
If I knew you were going to do that, I definitely wouldn't have.
If I knew you were going to try to win the game, I would have played differently.
So there's just so many of these. Like there's like 20 some factions to pick, Tim, if you have all the expansions, of course, which is like 4 massive boxes.
Yeah, like, I don't know that it's 20, but it's a lot.
It's like a lot. It's 4 Ankh/Blood Rage boxes to get to that.
Plus I got it consolidated down to 2.
Oh, you've also got that expansion where you've got you can play with the mermaids or the water faction, where you put an overlay over the board and you're playing on underwater. It's like you're underneath everybody. They have to dive down to fight you, or you got to surface. There's also the air version, which you have guys. There's another level added on top, so you can even get 3-dimensional with this game. Just there's so much content, and if you have any interest in Epic 4X, I cannot suggest this game enough. It is really, really good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Hey, Mike, you know what we have neglected to do tonight, and I'm just going to do it right now. I'm going to jump in right now. I'm going to do it before we get to the number 1. Guys, can everybody that's watching right now, that's having a good time, can you give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the video? Just interact with video. It helps us out. We do have a Patreon. Honestly, I don't care if you want to jump in on that Patreon or not. It's there. If that is a way that you feel like you want to help, please do. Do not do it if it is not beneficial to you in any way. But a way that you can benefit us and really help us out, even aside from just watching, which is amazing. And thank you for doing that. Nothing is more valuable than your time. I appreciate that so much. But yeah, just that click on that thumbs up, or thumbs down if you hate all of Mike's picks.
Thanks, Bob.
But yeah, just do that for us. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much again for being here and hanging out with us every freaking Wednesday. We've got people hanging out with us. and I love it. I love it. We see new faces. You guys are amazing. It's the best. It is so rewarding. If I just had to get on here and talk to Mike every Wednesday, I would, and it'd be fine. I would have a good time. Mike might be like, okay, I'm going to start charging you for therapy.
Well, there's that.
But no, it's really great. You know what, David? I thought about something like this that could be interesting, because I've got some fun games that could be on this list.
I'm not sure I do, but I still wrote it down. It'll go on the master list.
Oh shit, Reed is on it right now. Reed.
Yeah,
I love you, Reed. Thank you so
I like
much.
his math.
I love you so much.
I like his math.
Some people might be watching from Facebook. But Reed's on it. I love it. And then yeah. Listen, this is only because Bob's known me for 20 years. Jason, I love you guys so much. You guys are absolutely the best. I love it.
Oh my goodness, that is. Oh man, wow!
I love it.
That needs to be like, we need like a comment hall of fame, like a live chat comment hall of fame. I'm like, wow. Hold on, I gotta screenshot that one or something.
Now Wayne is a professional in the industry here.
Right.
With the Beans and Dice podcast. Did I get that right? Hopefully I did. Wayne is here doing it the right way. And Wayne, I'm going to return the favor, buddy, because you've been coming on the show for a while, and I feel really terrible that I didn't know you had a show, dude.
Willie, as far as I know, he's already looking into it. You know what's sad is he got a new repeater, and what he's getting off his repeater is as fast as what I'm getting down here, and I never buffer. I don't understand it.
I don't know.
His speed is plenty fast enough.
And probably changing radio. I saw Rococo and I started saying R word. No, I'm probably changing internet providers this month. But anyway, tonight's worse than it's been in months.
Yeah, I know.
Tonight's way worse than it's been in a while.
David, I have old school Rococo sitting over there, and I still haven't played it.
I've never played Rococo.
Dude, yes.
Or Session, for that matter.
Yeah, me either. I would love to play that one.
But I do have some feminine-themed games I'd love to talk about.
Well, before you do that, why don't you talk about your last fantasy-themed game?
Okay, so as much as I try to not talk about like the same games all the time,
sometimes you have to.
This has to be my number one fantasy-themed game because it is based on an IP that I love so much. I have read these 500-plus page books multiple times, Mike, multiple times.
That's why it keeps popping up.
I have played this game. I played this game before I was even really into hobby board games, even though second edition is far superior, makes it a lot better. But this is my favorite fantasy IP. It is Game of Thrones. Bob, you know, you played first edition with me before we were even into board games like we are now. The Game of Thrones board game is so good. For me, it captures the theme perfectly, but you can play the game without having read any of the books or caring. You could play it as generic fantasy theme. For me, it makes perfect sense. I love it so much. These guys are talking about the Terry Pratchett, I believe Martin Wallace design, because it was rethemed as Nancy Narking, which is a fantastic game, and I love that nobody knows about. Actually, I've hopefully got the opportunity. I'm going to get the opportunity to meet Martin Wallace at Origins because he's going to be there. And I'm trying to figure out what game I want him to sign. And I can't decide if it's going to be Australia, Nancy Narking, or Wildlands. because those are just some of my favorite games, and I want him to do one. Okay, good. So Trevor has played Nancy Narking as well. You know what I might do? Actually, I might just do like a poll and see which Martin Wallace game I should get signed out of mine. Because I also have Study in Emerald second edition, not the first edition, which would have been really cool to own. But anyways, all that aside, Game of Thrones. It is based on a series of books that I absolutely love. Diehard fanatical about those books. The show up until like season 5 was really great for me. Then it got a little for me, but it's fine. The show is still okay. Yes, I love it. It's my favorite fantasy. Now, it's what I would call low fantasy, right? There are dragons, but there's not like it starts off very low fantasy because there's no dragons when you start reading the books or watching the show. There's no magic, which again is what I would consider low fantasy. When it's just knights, you know what I mean? Guys in armor, you know, charging around on horses, fighting other knights in armor.
What's up, Star Trek? Tim, bad time to buffer. Terrible time to buffer. I haven't played this one. Oh wait,
Yeah.
I've played Game of Thrones, but some of the other Martin Wallace games, yeah, I haven't.
But yes, Jeff, just so you know, I did get my replacement Australia box. Thank you for asking. I did not expect to, but the fact that they actually sent me one was amazing, and I'm very grateful for it. And just very cool of them to actually do that. That is the one like Kickstarter thing that I've had like go wrong. You know what I mean? Where like, oh, I got a box shipped to me and it was like totally wrecked and destroyed. I mean, there was a hole punched through, you know, so much of that. But it was amazing that they replaced it. Very glad that that happened. But anyways, Game of Thrones. Some of the things that I absolutely love about Game of Thrones is that its play style actually lends itself to the theme because you're secretly assigning all of your actions. And so you can secretly betray anybody at any point in time, which is so Game of Thrones. It's so Game of Thrones. It feels so thematic. I don't care. Every time I play it, I don't care if I totally get hosed. I mean, I might be really cranky about it when it happens because I was probably one move away from winning or like setting a bunch of dominoes, you know, ready to fall. But that's the beauty of it. I love it. It conveys the theme so well, you know, for me. And it doesn't always matter, but when it actually works and it clicks, it's so good. So Game of Thrones had to be my number one of all time. It had to be my number one. I've got so many other games written down that we will talk about in honorable mentions, but Game of Thrones had to be my number one because I just love that game so damn much. It's so good.
I need to play it again. I played it once with a bunch of sharks years ago, and it was bad.
Kind of, David, kind of, except it doesn't take a week to play, you know. But yeah, it's just a game I love. It's definitely not for everybody. It is not a game that I'm going to play with certain people for sure. But it is a game that I absolutely love to play, and I will play that game with sharks, and I don't care if I get my butt kicked. I usually am pretty competitive. But if I'm getting my butt kicked, it's usually I know it's my fault. Because I didn't do something right.
Nice. Okay. My number one, the thing about this one, there's a little bit of shame here because this game doesn't have much theme at all. It's fairly themeless. It really could be any theme.
Hold on, Mike. Can this game be played in like 15 minutes?
No.
Oh, okay, it's not the one I have written down as an honorable mention then. Okay, please continue.
It is one that's visible in my shot. However, the only thing that's visible is the big box. So unless you know what the big box looks like, You may not know which one I'm talking about, but yeah, my number one fantasy themed game doesn't have much theme, but this is true to me. This is Mike's list. And so therefore my number one favorite fantasy themed game is Role Player.
Dude, I have it written down and I didn't play it because
love Role Player. I absolutely love this game. The drafting is very simple, and yeah, you're trying to put sets together of armor sets. Maybe you want like a mystic set, or maybe you're trying to get a chain set. So you're buying those cards, but you can buy spells, and then you get like activations out of them, and then, but also you're playing as. The theme does work. That's exactly it. The theme does work. Like, it's not like it is a fairly themeless game, but the theme makes a lot of sense. And I think where they really drove home the theme for this game is when they added the Monsters and Minions expansion. This is how you complete Role Player. If you have not played Role Player with Monsters and Minions, it is the most essential expansion I have played for any game. Hands down. That was my second hand going down.
Mike.
Yes.
Mike, I need to be taught the Monsters and Minions expansion because I played Role Player. I played Role Player without it, and I freaking love Role Player.
And you're like, wow, this is a pretty good game. In fact, this is good enough. This is good enough that it doesn't need an expansion. And then you play the expansion, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll never play without that, because Role Player is just drafting a die and then putting it onto your player board. And that's you building your Role Player, ROLE, but you're doing so by rolling dice and drafting them and putting them in your player board. So the whole crux of this game is building out your character. You are building your character for, a campaign. And you're doing that like you've got charisma, wisdom, intelligence, constitution, dexterity, and strength. And so you're just adding these dice in there, but there's so much mitigation here. So much. When I place a die into my wisdom, I can move my little cube over there with the stars, and that allows me to activate my spells more frequently. If I put a die into my intelligence, I can grab any die and re-roll it and then just stick it back down. If I put points in my constitution, I can just raise the pip value. And so it's really it's not a crunchy game, but with all this mitigation you can do to the dice, you're thinking a lot. You're trying to get, like, for example, let's see, on the instant intelligence there, he's got his intelligence at 14. You've got a backstory card that's telling you, hey, if you can get your intelligence total to 14 or higher, you get 2 points at the end of the game. So you're trying to get these totals to add up. There's just so much mitigation. I mean, dexterity lets you swap 2 dice. Strength lets you take a die and flip it on its other side. So every time you place a die, you're getting these actions that are all dice mitigation actions. And it's so good.
No, it is a freaking fantastic game.
I love this game.
Keith Mateka, right?
Keith Mateka. Yes.
Thunderworks games, man, Role Player's freaking fantastic. It's so good.
It's
and Chris
really
made a good point. This is the fantasy themed game that you could have bought in like a big box store. Because they're selling D&D stuff now. And Role Player is really just like D&D. I thought about like putting cartographers on my list because I love the Role Player. I don't care about the Role Player universe, but I love that game, and it's like in the Role Player universe. And I was like, oh, that counts. But I had enough games to not need to get cute with my list, so I left it off. But Role Player was an honorable mention because I just had a feeling that it was going to be your 1 or 2. I just really did.
I love the game. And I've got the big box over there. I did want to just to tidy up on a Role Player thing real fast. What Monsters and Minions does add is, instead of just drafting one of those 4 cards, now you have an option to fight a minion. And if you fight a minion, you're going to get XP, which you use against the boss at the end of the game, or they give you ways to find out more information about the boss, which again lets you roll more dice. But at the end of the game now, you have one final roll off against a boss, and so it gives a finality to the game. The game isn't just about building a character now. Now there's this finality. I got to roll a ton of dice against the monster because I'll get points for that. So anyway, it just adds a finality that I didn't think the game needed until I played it, and I can't recommend it enough.
I was at their booth at Origins on the last day and bought everything for Role Player because I love Role Player. I haven't played anything else from it. I've only played the base game, but it was a game that it's like, look, I need to support this. These guys are amazing. Mike, that box you are handling is the box I have. Jason, just so you know, Dice Throne is definitely counts as fantasy. I prefer the Marvel Dice Throne. I've got issues with Dice Throne at times. But yes, Dice Throne is 100% a fantasy themed version. And then I think, Jeff, I'm going to speak for Mike real quick. Mike, you can answer this in a second. But I think Mike doesn't like Fiends and Familiars near as much as he likes the minions and monsters or whatever.
This is true. So the Familiars are a pet that add to the row of dice that you can add. So now instead of those 6 attributes that I mentioned, now you've got a familiar that you also add dice to. And so to make that work, they also added these split dice where their one die is half green, half red, or it's half black, half yellow. And colors are another thing where you're set collecting in this game to get points. And so like the split color thing was a little weird. And then all of the split dice are lower pip values. They don't go higher than 3 or 4. And so when you get one of those and you're like, shoot, I need my Constitution to be high or I won't get those points, it's like you're forced to put those on your familiar. And they have their own abilities, and some are cool, some aren't. But the part that I like the least about this is what they did was they punish you if you take one of the lower initiative cards. So you're drafting, the dice go on these initiative cards. That's the order. So the highest value die goes on the 1, next highest on the 2, etc. And so if you take the 4, you're taking the lowest value die, obviously. Well, you can also gain gold from that, as you can see on the cards. But with Fiends and Familiars, it punishes you if you have to take the 4. Right. Why? You're going last. You're taking the lowest value die. Don't punish me more than you already are. And so that's why Fiends and Familiars, your mileage may vary with that. And again, Role Player is a top 20 game for me. Monsters and Minions is a 10 out of 10 expansion for me. And I'm still telling you, I would rather just not play with that. Or I would play with the Familiars, but leave the Fiends out. The Fiends are the ones that are punishing you if you have to take the lower initiative card. I just think lower initiative and lower pip values are punishment enough. So,
fair enough. Yeah, Paul, you don't have a choice, man. We're going to find you.
Duh.
We're going to hunt you down. We're going to play the shit out of your game, and we're going to hang out with you. I'm excited about that.
Tim has these. I was super excited to get these because I don't pimp out a lot of games. I've made that clear. I'm fairly cheap and selective on what I need to love a game before. I'm not just going to play a game once and go, yeah, that's a 7.5. Let me go get everything for it. No, I need a game to be like a 9. Like I will. So anyway, the holographic monsters.
Oh, I've got those. I had to have them.
Bought them at Gen Con. Just a cool touch.
So are those for the Minions and Monsters expansions then? Is that what those are specifically for? Okay.
Yes. So those really cards are the monsters.
I was worried they might be the Fiends, and then it's like, oh, I got these awesome cards and I'm never going to use them because Mike hates that part of the game.
No, you got the right ones. We've also got all our dice in this. I was doing it. Yeah. And so then it's the only dice tower I have, but I do have a a role player dice tower back here. It's the only dice tower I own. I don't use it that much, but I have one. So,
well, it's just got one gigantic 6-sider in it.
I know. It doesn't work. So anyhow, I love role player. I like dice placement. I like dice mitigation. I like rolling dice. This game is great for me. Love this.
And yeah, David, I do play the chits out of games.
No, this is just a different color. This is what flavor is the brown bag? I can't remember. That actually, I think that's the salted caramel, I believe is what that is. So, yes, I like trying the flavored crowd. Anyway, holographic monsters. Fantastic. They've also got, it came with a promo that's the, what the heck is it called? Oh, the Cursed Ring. And it's just a pass around the table mechanic. Whoever's holding this at the end of the game is losing X number of points. But it's kind of fun just seeing it pass around the table. Like, all right, let me hand it to you.
Mike, do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll run through mine really quick, and then I'll let you do yours. One that could have, ironically, is not on my list, but it could have been my number one. Clank. I freaking love Clank.
One of my honorable mentions. I just didn't think of it because it doesn't have these characters that we've been talking about in it.
Sure. I mean, there's a goblin you fight every time, right? There's a dragon.
There's a dragon. I wrote it down as an honorable mention after I sat down for our pre-production meeting. It just didn't come to mind.
Okay, so then Dice Forge is also one that is a great fantasy themed game that I absolutely love. Role Player was one, but I knew you were going to talk about it. Catan is a sneaky fantasy themed game. It's not historical.
You mean Game of Thrones Catan?
Sure, that's fine too. I 100% had Gore Chosen written down, which is the Games Workshop Warhammer. Just straight up, you are playing Warriors of Khorne, duking it out in a Coliseum. So crazy and just madness. Fantasy Realms. Can't have a best fantasy games list without Fantasy Realms. Even though I love Marvel Remix more,
how did I not think of Fantasy Realms? It's in the title.
Fantasy Realms is it's
a great game.
Freaking good.
One of the best fillers you can play.
It's so good. And then Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Come on. I mean, it's just
you
flipping
kept it
fantastic.
Off because we talked about it beforehand. It's one of Tim's favorites.
Did. Willie, you know what? I thought about putting Vindication on my list, but I haven't played it enough. I haven't played Seasons at all. I guess that could also maybe be a nature themed game. Rising Sun, I would almost put in history or mythology because of the way that it incorporates both of those aspects. And then Too Many Bones, I played one time and I don't have too many memories about it. I had a good time playing it. It seems like that universe is pretty cool, but I have not played it. Above and Below is really good. I have not played Near and Far, but I do love Above and Below. Really fun fantasy game. So
yeah, we've gone full circle. Seasons was one of my gateway games as well. The night that I knew I was going to be a board gamer, I played Lords of Waterdeep, then Seasons, then Lords of Waterdeep again. Bought it later that week, and here I am 10 years later. Yes, so Katsia, 2 of those were on my list. So Terra Mystica was my number 4, and Ethnos was my number 5. So great picks there. I haven't played Trismegistus.
I feel like Mike knew what your list was going to be and then did that to cater to you. Shadows over Camelot. Jeff, if I had played that game more than one time, it would probably be on my list. That is a Grail game for me. I'd love to get my hands on a copy of it. I played it one. I love Arthurian legend stuff. For me, that almost crosses over to mythology because of the Arthurian legend. And then Chaos in the Old World, fantastic old school Eric Lang game. that I have.
Reed hitting those bluffing games, man.
And that would have been a great one for the well, not just Eric Lang, but also hitting that Warhammer universe. Cosmic Encounter.
So I'm trying to find it. So I've made a trade with Tim. I traded Tim my Fantasy Flight version of Cosmic Encounter for Underwater Cities. I did that not because I don't like Cosmic Encounter, but because I hadn't played it in a while, and I knew if I give it to Tim, I could play it with him. Then I went out and bought Iron Throne and the expansion like a few weeks later because I've always wanted to play a Game of Thrones version of Cosmic Encounter is what this is. Yes, I have.
Let me just say that that I traded Mike Underwater Cities because I knew I would still have access to it.
Well, yeah.
But could play and own Cosmic Encounter. So Mike and I had similar motives. It was mutually beneficial. It's wonderful when you can have a win-win trade, right? Win-win. David, I have played Thunderstone one time, and I played the newer version that's got minis. But I own a copy of Thunderstone Advanced with it's got like one of the expansions, and I forget, but I haven't played it yet. But I do love me a good deck builder.
Your spaceships are crowns.
Dude.
And if you get one of your people captured, they're one of your leaders. So, I mean, and your leaders give you abilities where you may not care about losing Joffrey, but maybe he has a cool ability you don't want to lose. And if somebody takes him, you lose that ability.
Hold on. If it's a Game of Thrones game and you've got Joffrey, you need to automatically win if you can get rid of Joffrey. I'm just saying. So Trevor, I haven't played enough Gloomhaven for it to make my list. But I acknowledge its importance as an IP.
Okay, so real quick, some of my honorable mentions, and I'm actually going to talk about real quick a couple that didn't make my list that are not honorable mentions. That sounds weird. So yeah, Clank. Like I said, it just didn't dawn on me until I don't know. It just didn't. So I have not played any of the Blood Bowl games or any Warhammer or any of that. I would love to play Blood Bowl, because I like sports. And so you take fantasy and combine that with sports. I'd love to play Blood Bowl. I know Tim and I both have Blood Bowl Team Manager.
We do.
Which is a deck building version of Blood Bowl.
I've never played mine, Mike. Have you played yours?
Gosh, yeah. I've played it a few times, in fact. It's not bad. It doesn't resemble football at all. It's more like I'm playing my cards all in a lane. Yep. And then whoever has the most strength pulls the ball to their side. And so you're fighting in different lanes to pull control of the ball. And whoever has the most balls and control, it's cool. It sounds better than what I'm explaining, but I also haven't played it in like probably 6 years. So give me a little slack on that. So that was one of my honorable mentions. I do like how you can upgrade your deck between games. So you can play a game, gain more cards at the end, add those to your deck, and now you got an improved version of your deck for the next game you play. It's got some of that in it.
See, and that's what I like about Baseball Highlights 2045 or whatever the year is on that one. But Baseball Highlights, that's what I love about that game is you're playing games, but you're drafting.
Yeah, so you've got pitchers and hitters, and you can get better hitters into your deck who have a higher likelihood of like hitting, doubles and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so good. Sorry. Anyways, Mice and Mystics could totally be on my list. That is a game that I have solely to play with my children. I have not heard about this new Tales of the Arthurian Knights, but I cannot wait.
Not the kind of. Oh, I thought you were going down.
Oh no,
not the kind of control you were thinking about. But it's out of print last I checked as well. Blood Bowl Team Manager is. My other one, there is another one that's fairly themeless, but I finally got to play Cartographers, and what a great roll and write game!
Dude,
And it's role player universe.
Cartographers is so good.
I'm pretty sure there's a good orc drawn on some of the cards, so there you go. Very loose, but great roll and write game in the role player universe.
Not loose at all. It is very much in the role player universe. So it is a fantasy themed roll and write. Yeah. No, that is a game that helped get us through COVID because we could play that game online. And we would just, it was really fun. It was really fun.
Seasons is a good one. It's the whole if you start a game with a draft though and it's your first time, it's just hard to see card synergies in any game that starts with a draft. But it's a really cool game.
Mike, you need to write this down for your list.
Most played games. What if we did that as a studio episode Sunday?
Oh my God, we could.
We haven't picked our studio topic yet. What say Bob? Is he still in here?
Yeah. I'm surprised Dan hasn't been on tonight.
Who was that? Who gave us most played?
That was Andrew. The good Andrew. The good Andrew. Not the one that's on the show.
And he was Andrew.
Chris definitely wants to hear more about your ball control there. Let me say, Jason, I own Lords of Zidit. I've never played it. And the couple of programming games that I have played, I do love, like Colt Express and Mechs vs. Minions. I think they're awesome. I did enjoy Root. I played against the programming faction and did well. Had a good time with that.
That's interesting, Willie. I didn't know about pre-selected hands. And then again, as it being my gateway game, we're talking about like over 10 years ago when I played that for the first time, and I probably played it a couple times after that, but not really since. So it's been a while. It was fun though. Yeah. Most played games for Sunday. That's interesting. That's interesting. A lot of roll and writes work really well for Skype games. Isn't it funny, Tim, how we get our biggest crowd usually about 2 hours into our stream?
I know, right? It's awesome.
If only Tim and I didn't have to be such early risers, we'd consider starting our stream later, but that just ain't gonna happen.
I know, but you know what? Let's just ask while everybody's watching. Would it benefit you if we started later? I'm just wondering. I just want to know because Mike and I also gluttons for punishment.
I sold 55 cars today, Tim. You know how many people I have to talk to make that happen?
At least 55. Maybe
a seller and a buyer, Tim.
So yes. 110. Oh shit! Bob's on it now. Bob is on it.
Stop, Bob. Let's have Bob stream from work. With all the background noise.
Oh, and then Trevor. So is Trevor our fan from Korea? Is he?
Yeah.
He's the transplant, right?
We're worldwide, Tim.
Yeah, I guess that counts, right? Katya, this is awesome. That's kind of what I do. Honestly, when I watch your guys' show, the Full 42 is sometimes I'll go to bed early on Mondays. I'll start the show at 9 with them. But then I'll leave my iPad playing. I'll just turn down the volume and I'll just fall asleep. And that's not because you're boring. It's because I get up very early in the morning. But I want you guys to have the viewership, right? So I'll just let it play because if I wake up and you're still going, I'll watch. But usually I turn it on the iPad. I'm watching till I'm falling asleep, and then I put the iPad down and then like sleep just listen to you guys until I drift off. But I want you guys to have the listeners.
At least you were to put a positive. You were able to put a positive spin on that. All I heard was Tim falling asleep to you guys. So
I'm a positive guy. Listen, we've got Katya's French accent. We've got Mike and Chris are actually pretty, for me, pretty generic. Mike doesn't sound too New York, and Chris is down in Texas now, right? And he definitely does not sound Texas. So
no,
they sound pretty normal.
Yeah. Did I have? I thought I had. Oh yeah, I didn't include Lords of Waterdeep, and that's.
Oh, here comes.
It just didn't. The theme doesn't come out. It's not like it's on my player board like it is in Roll Player. Oh, hey, double hit. Oh, man. What's funny is I think David was at the Meeple event where we played Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, I'm pretty sure.
No, wait. I don't know that that's the same David. David, are you the same?
Maybe I'm getting them mixed together.
No, I don't know. There might be more than one David Godfrey. David, is that you or is that a different David? And I say, is that you as in, do you know us personally?
Yeah, thanks, Reed. Even though Roll Player doesn't have much theme, but at least the cards have a lot of theme, and they make it shine. I struggle to get the theme out of Lords of Waterdeep, even though some others do.
See, a different David. Okay. So here we go.
Huh? Oh, okay. He's buffered. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. That's right. I get to take the captain seat back. Otherwise, Tim is going to buffer all night. Excellent point, co-host Andrew. I appreciate the observation.
I think Andrew's right. But no, so David, funny story. My wife's maiden name is Godfrey, and she has a cousin named David who games with us. So we know wild. A David Godfrey.
Local, yeah.
I was 99% sure.
He was probably assuming that's who you were, and that's who I assumed you were. He's a hardcore gamer too. Tim freezing
No, I assumed it was not that David because he doesn't like the same games that David likes.
Okay.
So I kind of was like, well, it's probably not him. Yeah,
we're gonna have to kick Tim back over to the right for when we have a guest. Otherwise, we're not putting our best foot forward.
Tonight's been terrible for this. I've been so much better.
Internet hamster, God.
Listen, hold on. Well, I got time for that. Yeah, gem time. I would say that Alchemist definitely counts as a fantasy theme. I would probably say that gem time. Oh, wait, Mike, you played the game. What's it called?
Gempire, Zarman's Demands.
Gempire's Zarman's Demands is fantasy themed. So just going to say.
Maybe more alternate history themed.
Alchemist is fantastic. It's like, I feel like Search for Planet X is like Alchemist Light.
I love Alchemist. The only problem is when you go without playing it for a while, you got to like relearn how the deduction works.
Oh my gosh.
And you want to talk about crunchy, like your brain is fried when you're done. That's Alchemist.
Best at Star Trek, liking Mystic Market. I really like that game too. I got it. I think that was a game I got for like as a gift.
Yeah, Alchemist, just the fact that it's a deduction and action selection / worker placement and gives you the opportunity to bluff. Woo! Love that.
Oh, Bob's trying to get us so nobody would ever watch us again.
Oh, wow. Wow. Does this mean I have to sing? I mean, I'm okay on certain songs. I do karaoke. I practice. I sing a little.
I used to be a lot better at Rock Band than I would be now if I were to get into it. I was an okay I was an okay singer on certain songs. I would never say I was the best, but I was passable at certain songs. I would love to see Dan sing some Judas Priest, but I don't think he could ever pull it off. See, Bob would even say, like, I was okay. I wasn't the best, but I was good at like certain songs. I was really good at, like Radiohead. I was good at Radiohead.
That one's very easy. Sorry.
Oh, shut up. Nobody could do Run to the Hills. Could you do Run to the Hills? Could you do Iron Maiden?
Yes.
Dude, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Give
my
me
my range is kind of weird. I can get up there pretty high, actually.
Ballroom Blitz. Ballroom Blitz. Oh yeah, there was one time. Hold on, there was one time.
Terrible. Nice.
I was
Star Trek a metalhead.
There was one. I forget what song it was, but we did this one, and I just did it. I was like, all right, guys, I'm gonna just Cookie Monster this song, and I did it, and it was super fun. It was hilarious. I'm glad it worked out. I actually could do
Let's get the band back together.
Alice in Chains pretty well too. Like when we would do some Alice in Chains songs. I could do that okay.
Star Trek's a metalhead. Oh, dude.
Dude, I'm a straight up creep, Jason. Of course I am.
Star Trek, I would shock you with the metal bands that I listen to. We can have that conversation later if you would like. I am not your typical metalhead. It goes deep and far.
I'm a metalhead that is into like 80s, 70s and 80s metal. Mike is much more into
modern
deathcore metal. And
Lorna Shore. Oh my gosh. Shadow of Intent is my favorite band. There we go. Rock on, sir. Lorna's no joke. Wow. Awesome.
I love it. This is great. This is why we're here, right?
Crazy. Yes. So rock band, man. I usually would play everything on expert. There's certain ones I could not get through.
I wear my sunglasses.
Well, I'm not doing
so
I only got through the Freebird solo once, and after I got through it once, I decided to stop trying, and that was on expert. I'm not going to get through the Flame, that one metal Flame.
Du hast mich.
Oh, who's the one super fast? There's a really fast song. There's just no way.
And now Chris is referencing clearly why Metallica didn't win for the Black Album, which is bullshit. Through the Fire and Flames. Do you like Coheed and Cambria?
Through the Fire and the Flames. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff bailed you out. And David, any Blues Brothers song you want, dude, I'm here for it. That is one of my all-time favorite movies. I had that one of their I had Shake a Tail Feather from the Blues Brothers played at my wedding specifically. Yeah, Welcome Home, right? Coheed and Cambria. So good.
Wow.
So good. But anyways, yeah, here's the thing is Mike and I love music like crazy. Oh, even Katya's in on Through the Fire and Flames.
Wow. Yeah. I would go with Rings of Saturn for that title. But yeah, it's I've tried to I can play the drums too. Usually that's actually my favorite. Although I do like nailing the hammer-ons on the guitar. What I prefer to do, since we're going into this, I did say play an expert, whatever. Give me the Rock Band guitar over any version of Guitar Hero guitar, and I play on the bottom fret, not the one way up here, the one where they say to use it for hammer-ons, the really small keys, because they're all closer together. You don't have to move your fingers as far. So I play on the bottom of the Rock Band guitar fret. That's how I always played. Anyway.
Yeah. Gosh, so Wayne's with me also on the Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers love. You guys, anybody, holy shit, come at me with some Blues Brothers. It is one of my all-time favorites. There have been, oh my gosh, there's so many people involved in that movie. I just love it. There's stories I could tell you about that movie because I've done so much research and reading up and listening to podcasts and everything about that. My family is very steeped in blues music, but my dad used to run the Midwest Blues Festival in the 60s and 70s. My older sister Julia, Mike, is on a T-Bone Walker album cover.
Nice.
Like my family's in it deep. So I love it. I'm here for it. And yeah. No, Bobby's drums, 100%. Bobby is drums. Bob's fantastic on drums. I'm either vocals or guitar, but
we
I'll
can
play
switch
bass.
then.
But I'll play bass if somebody's better. If somebody's better at it, because I'd rather win.
Oh well, yes. Then you're gonna want me to play lead guitar. Yeah, it was so fun. I would love to start playing that again. We played that at Andrews sometime last year, like in the fall.
But I've got to like get my voice back in shape, because you can't just like jump back into it. You've got to really, that is a muscle that you have to like to really get back in there, because when we started playing Rock Band, it was not good. And then I got a lot better as I was able to practice.
That was the game that allowed me to get better at singing it was as well. It was something about being able to visually see when my pitch was matching. It just like, it kind of clicked for me at that point. So yeah, Rock Band was my catalyst to singing more and doing a lot more karaoke for sure.
David, you're going to have to be way more specific than that. I mean, there's so much. I had the rockin' pneumonia and the boogie woogie flu. I mean, you gotta get way more into that.
Let me, since you were talking about your blues street cred, let me talk a little bit about my metal street cred.
Do it, dude. Go for it.
My very first concert was Anthrax, Skid Row, and Pantera.
Ooh, I saw them. I saw all of them in concert.
Fort Wayne Coliseum in 1998.
But your Skid Row didn't have Sebastian Bach.
It did.
Oh, even better.
Bach was there. Yes.
Okay.
So that was my first concert. I have seen Black Sabbath with my mom and dad with Dio.
That's the second best version of Black Sabbath. Come on, Ozzy's the best version.
Dio is a much better vocalist.
Right, but give me Ronnie James Dio solo over Dio with Black Sabbath. True. That's all I'm saying. Dio is a much better. Ronnie James Dio is a much better vocalist than Ozzy Osbourne ever was.
My Curse and Kill Switch's version of My Curse, which was on Guitar Hero 3, I believe. Love that song. So I've also seen, now there's a lot more heavier bands I've seen, but I'm just talking about ones I've seen with my mom and dad. Avenged Sevenfold.
Yep.
I'm missing another one. Hollywood Undead. Bullet for My Valentine. Still with my mom and dad. There's a big one I'm missing. Machine Head. Oh, and Megadeth. There you go.
Oh, I'd love to see Megadeth. Holy crap!
Not now.
Well,
he can't sing anymore.
No,
he can't sing anymore.
But Dave Mustaine back in the day, right? No, right. And I saw Pantera, back in the day. Man, Pantera was so good. Oh shit, Professor Longhair. I saw Professor Longhair at the Chicago Blues Festival in the early 90s. I've seen Pine Top Perkins. I've seen Buddy Guy. I've seen Albert King. I've seen Albert Collins. I've seen BB King. I've seen more blues acts than I can remember.
That's what my parents like to go see now.
And that's not like a Charlie Musselwhite, Fabulous Thunderbirds, a lot of those guys. No, but it's just that I grew up around it, and that like. Some of these blues musicians, when my dad was running the blues festival, they would just stay at our house. So Julia, my older sister Julia, has way more stories than I do, even with meeting these guys and talking to these guys and hanging out with these dudes. And so that kind of music has just been such a part of my life, for all time. I love it. You know, and so I don't care. I'm not, you know, it is what it is.
Yes.
Which one are you reading? Which one are you reading?
Jason talking about who he saw with his parents and what he saw Sha-na-na.
Oh, Sha-na-na. Dude, I would have loved to have seen Sha-na-na. Come on, man. 1981, not 1979. I mean, it's 2 years difference. I think you're okay. Keith did do a great job on Role Player. I'm going back through here. Keith.
Love that game. Yes.
Weird Al, I have seen probably 7 or 8 times in concert.
I need to see him.
I love Weird Al. I would love to see Iron Maiden in concert. Iron Maiden's the freaking bomb.
That's an old metal band I like. See, I've seen Ozzy more than a handful of times, with and without Black Sabbath.
See, so when I started going to concerts, like there weren't awesome people that I saw. Like Seven Dust was awesome. I saw Seven Dust live. They were really fun. But they opened for New Doors or Three Doors Down, who was opening for Creed. I saw Seven Dust, Three Doors Down, and Creed. And Seven Dust happened, and I was like, "This is amazing." Three Doors Down had one good song, and no, they weren't famous yet. And then Creed was just like, "Okay, this is all about Scott Stapp. He sucks. Whatever." It was the girl I was dating with. It's fine. You know, I was dating. She wanted to go to the show. She was a big Creed fan, and I'm like, "Creed's fine, whatever." But then we went. But yeah, I mean, we went to a bunch of concerts together. So I saw Poison, Anthrax, Rat, Dokken.
Oh God.
Kiss, Ted Nugent. We went to a bunch of concerts together. Nugent actually had a really fun show live. He opened for Kiss. And then I saw Perfect Circle twice on the same tour, but that was mostly because I like Tool more. But you know, at the time, if you want that, that's what you're going to go see.
I tend to diversify, so I try to see people I haven't seen before. So there aren't a lot of acts I've seen a bunch repeatedly. There's ones I still haven't seen that I want to see.
So like the Perfect Circle one, I bought tickets for. I went with the girl I was dating, and then my buddy had an extra ticket because somebody bailed out, and it was like in Detroit. And he's like, "Do you want to go see Perfect Circle?" And I'm like, "Sure." I just saw them like 3 weeks ago, you know, in South Bend, but yeah, I'll go again. Maybe it wasn't even 3 weeks. It might've been like the next week. But yeah, Weird Al is probably the person I've seen the most, if you don't count blues acts. Cause I've probably seen Coco Taylor or Sun Seals play way more than anybody in my whole life, just from being taken there as kids. But once again, Katya, good night. Thank you so much. Everybody, please go get on that Kickstarter right now. Well, don't leave now. Do it in like 15, 20 minutes when Mike and I get tired of like alienating all of our viewers by talking about music. But you guys should really go over there and get that calendar for your game room. It's totally worth it. There's a lot of value there. Dude, Willie. So Billy Joel played at Notre Dame Stadium last year, and I could hear it from my driveway. And I would have loved to have been able to go to that show. And yeah, Andrew, good night, dude. Thank you for being here. Mike and I, we will not be on too much longer, but
no.
But yeah, I would love to see Billy Joel. Yeah. Katya, thank you so much again. Have a great night. Sleep
classic
well.
acts, real quick. John Mellencamp, I saw, and John Fogerty. Now that guy can still sing. He's got pipes, man. Ooh.
Oh, I saw Kansas, and I saw Oh, the lead singer from Bad Company, but he wasn't with Bad Company, but he still sang all the Bad Company songs.
Mm.
And holy shit, he was amazing. Dude was so good. He was
Nice.
so good. Also, let's see. Who did I just see recently that was really good? It was an older act. Chicago was good live. They weren't like my favorite thing, but they were really good. God, I'm drawing a total blank, but they were like, I was like, whoa, they still rock. Oh, I please talk, Mike. I'm sorry. I'll remember who it is in a
Sure.
minute.
One of my favorite live performances was System of a Down.
I want to
I'm
see them so bad. I'm so
I'm
jealous you saw
I'm not a
Surge.
huge System fan, but what I like is how they never stop playing music. Like the whole set list, they transition between songs. There's never a lapse in music being played. So for their hour and 10 long set, you will hear music the entire time. And I just think that's really cool. Yeah, System is great live. And he's got a great live voice. That's one thing I really appreciate is good vocals live. It's one thing to record vocals and hit that note. It's different to be able to in a soundproof room with effects and editing. It's a whole different thing to be in an outdoor stadium with 40,000 people and still sound that good. So tons of respect to people that can do that.
No, my wife, it's funny, if you meet my wife, you wouldn't know that she loves bands like System of a Down. Like she's so mild-mannered. But when we started dating and I found out she loves System of a Down, and I'm like, what? Like, no, it's amazing. Let me just I got a funny run-in story. Okay, so Jason, if we're gonna still talk about music, so the band War, right? They came to town. They came to South Bend in the late 90s. And at the time, I was doing a high school radio show. I was part of the WETL radio program. I was doing a show with my best friend, still my best friend. Ironically, he doesn't play board games. That's why you don't see him on the show. But anyways, we got to go because thankfully my parents knew people. I was lucky. So it was War and the Fabulous Thunderbirds played at the State Theater in downtown South Bend. And so we saw War, who sings Lowrider, Cisco Kid, a bunch of songs like that. So everybody knows Lowrider. So I got to see Lowrider live, which is amazing. So I'm hanging out backstage. I'm like 17, 18 years old with War. I'm backstage with War. And I was so straight edge then. I was so like nervous about, having a beer underage. And those guys tried so hard to get us to drink. They're like, oh yeah, you want a beer, man? You want a beer? Oh, you do a radio show? They gave us CDs because we did a radio show. Like it didn't matter. There was just a high school radio show. It was just all of these dudes. They were so freaking cool to us. It was wild. It was wild. We got a picture with them. And there was my mom's friend was in the picture. My mom was in the picture. And this dude.
Ooh, can't fill in Tim's personal stories. Yeah. Musicians that I've met, not anybody really that big. Nobody that big.
Okay. Here I'm back now. So we're getting our picture, right, with War. And it's a bunch of dudes. It's not just like a 3-person thing. It's like a whole group of dudes. We're getting a picture, and this one dude is grabbing my mom's friend's butt, and he's like, I got me a handful of ass, right as they take the picture. And the dude on the other side of her is like, I got me 2 handfuls of ass. And they're just, I will never forget it.
Wow.
Totally hilarious. I got one other funny celebrity run-in story that was not mine, but it was my late grandmother. It's my favorite story that I've ever heard about her. Okay. So my grandmother it was from Louisville, Kentucky, and she had no filter. Even when she was young, it got worse when she was older. She would say inappropriate things in public. But just to prove that she would say inappropriate things to anybody, I'm going to tell you this story. So she is visiting from California. She's in downtown Louisville. She's staying at a very nice hotel, very upscale hotel, downtown Louisville, Kentucky, right on the river. She is going up the elevator with my uncles, and had just gone out to dinner.
Nothing could go wrong.
Nothing could go wrong. This guy gets in the elevator with a lady, and my grandmother looks at him and goes, "You look like Kenny Rogers. You are so handsome. You're so much better looking than Kenny Rogers, but you look just like Kenny Rogers. But that man can't sing a lick. You can't be Kenny Rogers." And this gentleman is like, well, thank you, ma'am. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. She's like, anybody ever tell you? So the whole time they're riding up this elevator, she's like going on and on about how this guy looks like Kenny Rogers, but Kenny Rogers can't sing for nothing. But and he's better looking than Kenny Rogers, but looks exactly like Kenny Rogers, but he's so much better looking. It was Kenny Rogers. It's one of my favorite stories ever about my grandma. And nice. I believe 100% that it is true, because it was confirmed by multiple uncles and that were there with her. And also, I know how that woman was, and she would just tell you straight to your face. Both of my kids, if you compared our baby pictures, look exactly like me when I was a baby. When I took my children to see my grandmother, she's like, "Oh, these children are so beautiful. These babies are so beautiful. They don't look anything like you when you were a baby. You were so ugly as a baby. These children are beautiful as babies. Those kids looked exactly like me." But she is not afraid to tell somebody that they were ugly to their face. So there you go.
That's great.
That's my Grandma Cleo story. I love that woman with all my heart. She was amazing. But also would just say horribly inappropriate things at times. So yes, that is my celebrity adjacent run-in. Sorry,
this
Mike.
Is the same lineage of side of the family of the great grandmother that got fired from Wild Turkey
that was
for
her
fighting? Mom. Okay, things are making sense. That's all I can say. You met up with again. Oh my gosh, I don't have any stories that are that good about musicians. I've been to a buttload of concerts though.
Yeah, no, there's Carl Martin is an old blues musician that I've had my best experience with that nobody has ever heard of. But anyways, Carl Martin, look him up. Carl Martin was really good, a mandolin player. He, I don't know why he was in South Bend, but we drove him and I rode with him in our station wagon to Louisville, Kentucky. They were playing a wedding, and Carl Martin played the mandolin and sang songs with us like the whole trip. It's a 5-hour trip, 4.5-hour trip from South Bend to Louisville, Kentucky. He hung out with us in a station wagon, just playing songs and like hanging out and BSing. And at the time, I was a kid, it's like, this is just a funny older guy, like no idea who he was. And then grew up, learned who he was. Amazing, super amazing story. My dad has a fun story. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Dying Cubs fans Last Request song, "Go Cubs Go." Any of those? City of New Orleans. So my dad's sitting at a bar in Chicago having some drinks. This guy sits down at the bar. It's like, "Is the music any good here?" And my dad's like, "I don't know. We're about to find out. Like, there's supposed to be a guy named Steve Goodman here. I'm here to see. We'll see if he's any good." And so they're kind of bullshitting about blues music, things they like and everything. And then the guy that my dad just bought a beer is like, "Okay, well, I gotta go. I gotta stop." Goes up, gets on stage. It was freaking Steve Goodman the whole time. My dad didn't even know he was talking.
Wow. That's crazy. And that's the Go Cubs Go guy, right? Steve Goodman, if I have the name right. Dang, we're getting a lot worse buffering. Usually gets better as we go. Sometimes.
Yeah, it usually does get better, but for whatever reason, it's getting shitty tonight. Yeah, that is the Go Cubs Go guy, the Dying Cubs fans Last Request. If you've ever heard the song "City of New Orleans," which is a great song about a train, yeah, Steve Goodman's got a ton of great songs. Anyways, but yeah, I'll stop going. I could go for forever about that. I apologize.
For another stream.
No doubt, dude. No doubt. Again, Mike, here's the great thing. You and I, like, we're not just friends because of board games. We bond over so many things. Board games was just the catalyst.
It was the catalyst.
Just open the door. And that's kind of like how it goes with everybody watching and commenting, right? Is board games the catalyst? But then we get to know all of you guys, and we're talking to you, we're hanging out with you guys, we're learning about your music, tastes, your movie tastes, all kinds of stuff. It's awesome.
It is a ton of fun. You guys in the crazy comments, you guys are what make it. I have written down 1, 2, 3, 4 new topics tonight, and one of them we might even cover on Sunday. So you guys are bringing the heat tonight. We had up to 20 people at one point. So all of you guys are awesome. No music games. Yeah. David, that's a tough one, man. Like we've played the ICP deck builder. Man, I don't. Yikes! I would struggle with that. I played very few.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough music games. And Jason, I want to hear in the Discord about these meatloaf dinners. I really hope that it's actually meatloaf and it's not just a hilarious joke.
It was just a joke.
I know, but I want it to be real. But anyways, guys, we're probably wrapping up, right, Mike? My phone just gave me the warning that I'm under 20%. What a fantastic stream, Mike. What a great list you had, sir. Great list.
Likewise, this was bringing the heat tonight. The fantasy themes were good, and next week we got a guest and space themes.
Yeah. Let me just say, hold on. Like, thank you guys. Every Wednesday, I feel like the week is kicking my ass. And then I get in here with you guys and I feel so revitalized. I'm having a great time. I look forward to it. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, David. Yeah, bread, right? There's another one.
Meat puppets, does that count? I don't know. Is a meat puppet edible? I think it would be. I don't know. Is it just a puppet that looks like meat, or is a puppet made out of meat? Who knows? I don't. Is it just a puppet?
If a meat puppet is made of meat, you can eat it.
That's yes, correct. Yes.
That's all I'm saying. But anyways, you guys rock. Thank you so much. It's it's only if you play with your food. But no, it's so much fun. You guys every Wednesday just refilling my cup, right? I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm ready to get through the rest of the week.
Truth.
And I know Mike and I message every day, multiple times, but it's always fun to get to hang out and like have these conversations with you too, Mike. So thank you again.
I know we don't always get to play games on Friday that much, and I don't always get to film on Sunday. So right. Yes. Or at least you're glad. Yeah, my second one's empty. By the way. It's empty.
Yeah, I've worked through a couple of them tonight, but I needed it. Holy shit, that I need it. So, anyways, again, one last time, everybody, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Worse. Not only have you buffered a lot, but they've all been really poorly timed. Like, you're trying to do an outro, or you're covering like a story that only you know. Bad timing for buffers.
Oh, it's the worst timing for buffers tonight. Yeah, Meat Puppets is edible on the Oregon Trail.
I think everything is edible on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, if you're hungry enough.
Although, unless it spoils, it kills you. So, like every other card in that game.
No doubt. Anyways, you guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. please join up on the Discord, the Facebook, whatever's your jam. Interact with us, hang out with us, visit with us. We love it.
See us at our booths at Origins and Gen Con.
Yes.
See us next week with Reed Mascala. Hope I didn't butcher his name. We're covering space themes.
I think you did, but Reed will let us know. I always say Reed Mascola, but maybe it's Reed Mascala. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know either. What?
And I've had Reed on the show before. I should know. I know.
You should.
Shameful.
Correct. I get an excuse.
You do. You do.
And then Katsia the week after, she'll pick the theme. But yes, it's theme month. We're rolling with it all May.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you, Mike, for making sure that this happens and goes off without a hitch every single time. We need to change tickers, go to a buffer screen. You got it. You're on it. There's never been any mistakes.
Not one.
I never buffer. Yeah. Top 5 fill-ins with Tim buffers.
Oh, that's a good one.
But no, y'all are rad. Thank you so much. I cannot wait to see you guys next week. Thank you for watching.
You all rock. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
That's all I got, Mike, for the board game rundown. I've been Tim.
I was Mike.
We'll see you.